everyone, welcome to the stream. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a good Sunday and ready to relax with some Stardew. Also, Pokecatcher for catching Pokemon. I said Saturday, didn't I? Did I say Sunday? I don't even know, but it's definitely Sunday. I'm sitting here, I was getting frustrated because I was trying to push out my notification on Twitter that I was live, or X, and it won't let me. It keeps telling me I am not, it just keeps denying me. It won't let me post that I'm live. I don't know why, but it hates me right now. So, hey, at least I got your fetched. That's cool. But yeah, I'm like, does it just not like my link? It's like, it auto pulls up a picture of my icon, and I don't think it likes that. So then I gotta like find my face and post on here or something. I don't know. We'll just see. We're just gonna try it like this. It might be play blinking. Say hi. Hiya. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't like using the icon. It makes you close it out. That's so weird. That has to be like an error or something right now. Okay. But anyway, welcome to the stream, everyone. And I'm gonna go grab the ladies and we're gonna start some Stardew. You guys ready? Alright, I'm gonna close all this and put my phone away. And we'll do this. So I'm gonna start the farm when nobody's looking. There, and then I'm gonna go grab the girls. Hi ladies, we're live.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Live with Lemon and Lady Rain. And of course, Puddles. Puddles is so cute.
Mysterious Puddles.
Yes, in the void. Oh. Am I the right one?
Oh, yes. I can't even see my screen now. It's fine.
Okay, I think I'm on the right farm. You guys can join and find out. Yeah.
Well, it would be nice if I, had a cat that was not blocking my screen.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Cats like to do that.
Oh, he's even worse.
So yeah, you guys just joining stream. We have cat interference today. Hi Jay! Welcome Jay. And let's see. Lemon has joined.
So loud.
Turtle.
Puddle.
You and that emo. How are you doing? And welcome to the stream. 6, welcome. 6 is already here hugging bots. And
class.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
We're good. Let me shrink this a little bit so I can see my things and stuff.
That does not mean you get to do this.
It's Momo!
Hello.
Really?
Hello, honeybee.
Hello.
How's you? Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm a little sleepy, but I'm doing good. Sitting here, just standing, doing nothing. And I should hurry up and get in here and get moving. Because, time is ticking on the farm. Oh, no.
I did an IRL, but it didn't work, so I had to.
Jeez.
I can't play.
You can, just push the cat away.
You can't?
That's
not letting you
that's
join? Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's illegal, actually. To push the cat away.
I don't care.
Oh yeah, we got our void egg. I'm so excited. We got our void egg. I'm gonna put it in the
Yeah, I forgot.
Oh,
the
right,
chest
right. Wait, what happened
for us
so far?
to make. The witch came and visited and did her thing to an egg. So we have a
Right,
void
right.
egg in the chest. So don't
Yes,
like try
thank
to
you.
sell it or mayonnaise it or anything.
I'm glad
Because
you're
we're gonna
comfy.
use
Never
that
rarely sell stuff.
to get our black chickens. But there's currently an egg in the incubator, so I can't do that right this minute.
What did it do to you?
Is there an end date to the St. Jude goal? Yes, the end date will be May 31st. It
Oh,
didn't let me
it's 'cause it was
put
the
the
first
end
thing you
date this
said.
time.
It's
What?
an automatic entrance one.
But yeah, May 31st, and I still have to set up all the incentives. But yeah, I'm doing good, Jay. I hope you are as well. Okay, good. There's time. Oh, you plotting, Startle. Yeah, you might want to wait until I get all the incentives anyway. But if individuals donate before the incentives go live, I will give them the incentive equivalent to what they donate in advance. So it's all good either way.
Right.
Still working out the kinks in that.
Yeah, I can't remember where to catch them.
To the Google or to the wiki.
Yeah,
I don't know what we were.
pond. Or
I don't know what we were
I think you
doing
get mine at the
last.
mountain lake.
Other than got some new ideas to sleep on. Yay! Oh, I wonder if that means I'm gonna be able to make oil machines soon.
Oh, did we ever get that second pickaxe?
It's ready. I just got a notification that it's ready, so I think I have
Okay.
to go get it
I
because
can-
I got the notification. Or you can try, but
I can try.
I don't think it's. I don't think it'll let you though, because last time I made Momo get it because she put it in there.
Oh.
And then I have this one if you want to come get this one for me.
Where are
Either
you?
way.
What did it make?
Milking cows.
You upgraded a tool.
Yeah.
We couldn't go get it. You had to.
The person that put it in there had to go get it.
Okay, yeah, then there's no way that I can go get it.
Doing good.
Wait, so,
I'm
Mono, where are you?
I'm in the cow barn, all the way to the left.
Oh.
I'm doing good. Going to dinner with the girlfriend's mom and dad in 4 hours time. Oh, does that make you nervous? Just curious. It would make me nervous.
Dang, all the plants still need water.
Yeah, I haven't made it out of the farm life yet. Let's see. I couldn't. Why did I not
Oh, right,
get
wait,
any
this is a
milk
better
from
one.
anybody? Just got that 3 slivers. Okay. Everybody was difficult to want to get. First time meeting him in person? Oh gosh. I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure you'll do amazing. You're such a nice person. How can they not like you?
Whatever you do, keep your pants.
Tell them you are a pro Minecraft player.
It's really good advice, Momo.
Oh, keep your pants on. Oh my gosh.
Mono,
Oh,
will
that's
put
you
the-
following me. That's you following me. I was like, who's following me and why? I'm having a moment here.
Fine.
Somebody's stalking me in Stardew and I don't know what to do.
It's just me.
Ooh, she's gonna level up.
I was like, what? I take 3 steps, they take 3 steps. I'm scared. I was still following me, Yeah, this is where
I'm
we
just
part our
double-checking
ways.
that
'Cause
we all still
closed.
have our jobs that we collaborated on before, that I'm doing the right thing and going into the mines.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start to.
You're all good. I
I'm
think
gonna
I need.
wait.
I'm gonna need a gold bar again soon to make the oil maker and 40 pieces of hardwood.
Alright,
Oh, and this is another thing I noticed, that all of a sudden there's a bunch of lights near every one of the graves, and we can actually pick these up and use them on our farm.
Oh.
I don't remember that ever being a thing before, but yeah. I'm gonna pick these up and put them on our farm, like near the garden and stuff, so we can see at night. I just stole all the gravestone lights because
How
I
dare
like that. Ah, it's 4 o'clock. It took me that long to get this far, and I'm not gonna get the pickaxe today.
You get
You know
distracted
that,
all the
babe.
time.
I do. I totally get distracted. I had to stop and grab those lights, so I was late. Oh, hell no.
And yet, I'm pretty sure we have the minecarts, don't we? Or is that at the other place?
Does that mean
We
don't
do.
keep
Oh,
Oh,
pickaxe
I don't
every
know.
day? I'm so confused.
The other one? Yeah.
Okay. You leaving me, Puddles? Thank God. Thank you. Bye.
I know. I have to remember what brain I'm using today. So you could kiss a stream element. Turtle, what are you
Fine,
plotting
the
now?
ducks.
What are you plotting?
Leo.
Turtle's plotting.
Oh, of course, for the last fucking 3 plants, I don't have enough water.
Hate when that happens.
Alright. Okay, all the plants are watered. Oh,
I'm
that's
at the
a chunk, that's a
beach
chore.
collecting all the things. So I took
Was I
care
the one
of.
who was selling farm goods? I'm not sure. It wasn't Mono.
It's not me. I'm doing I'm
you
helping
did the
sell
animal stuff.
mining
Right.
goods, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, animal stuff is me. Animal
That's
stuff
probably
is
me.
me. Lemon is
Yeah,
the thing, and yeah, you're
I'll go sell the jam and whatnot.
drink water. Got you. Thank you. I got some lemonade. Wood. Talking about water. All right, let's hand out some commands. Hugs go to a bot, so we gotta try again.
Was I supposed to give someone a pumpkin?
Take us some hugs. Yeah, we need pumpkins. We gotta give it to Caroline.
Wait. Did I still need to pick up that task, or?
It'll happen eventually to all of us, so we all need pumpkins eventually.
Okay.
It's a regular thingamajig, not a pick it up thingamajig.
Night carp. Let's see where to find them.
All the
Yeah.
fancy
I'm at the
words.
mountain lake right now if you wanted to try the forest lake.
Is it carp frenzy? Have you seen those pop up yet? Where they say it's like a fishing frenzy?
Yeah.
Of a certain kind?
Yeah, no, you
Frenzy
need
the
to go
other
to the
day.
mountain lake actually.
It's in the forest lake too.
Oh.
I had that cucumber thing frenzy the other day.
Four spawns during fall and winter, late at night. Which one is that? Which one is what? I don't.
Cookies! You have
the
tons of
forest
cookies
pond
to
is the
spend.
one south of the farm. Mountain lake is by Robbins in the mine.
Okay, I'll go there. To the bottom.
I guess as far as like we're just manufacturing equipment right now, and then we'll need to expand our barns and stuff again to get the rest of the animals.
Alright, the last thing we did was the event.
Yeah, because I got an event ticket in my hand.
I have chocolate in my pocket. I better get it out. Thank you.
Chocolate.
Oh yeah, we didn't go back and get our things from the Lost and Found, did we?
Oh, no, we gotta go get those out of Lost and Found.
How dared!
I'm grateful I just went into Lost and Found and we didn't lose it.
Right.
Oh, that would have sucked.
Boop. Bite?
But I think it used to happen that way.
Turtle got bit.
No, I licked him.
Lick me, Dad. Oh my god.
We're licking turtles now?
turtle
That's
soup.
weird.
Apparently. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. What did I hit? I don't even know. Pocatch. Okay. Oh no, I will. No. Oh, let's see. Where are those commands? Yeah, rigged. It's rigged. There we go.
Yay!
Alright, I'm gonna take these lights and put them, I guess, around the garden because I feel like these are much nicer than all the candles I have. And you can always use more light. Because there's never enough. Mama, I'm putting lights around your garden to help you out at night so you can see more.
So whimsical.
Oh, Jesus, these are annoying to catch.
Yeah, I stole all the ones off the grave, so... Off the graves, because I'm apparently a grave robber now.
I mean, they don't need them.
Nope.
They can't see anything.
Okay. I'll
Don't
do some
underestimate
cleaning. Oh, that's what I gotta do. I seriously can't make anything until I get some oak resin and get some oak tree things going.
Sorry.
I have not caught one midnight carp.
I got 2 so far.
Nice.
Maybe you need to be here then. I don't know.
Oh, it's fine. It's already too late for me to make it down there right now. But...
Let's see. What do I need?
Don't forget we have the cards though.
Oh,
I
didn't
didn't
you
think we
need
had the
one
cards
of
in
those
this
good
one.
rings, the
Pretty
glow
sure it's the other one.
rings?
The mine cards.
No, we have the mine cards in this one. We don't have it in the other one.
Yeah.
Oh.
You need one of those glow. You need one of those glowstone rings, don't you? Lemon.
Huh? Oh,
No,
I
You
I
need
thought we
the-
got one for.
The glow and magnetic. Did I build it for you?
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
okay.
Oh wait.
With the one I craft with solar essence.
I caught
It's
one.
2-colored ring.
Yay. Oh.
Okay.
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Just want to make sure I crafted one for you.
Come here, fishy. Oh, got
Oh
another
right,
one.
time doesn't
I'm
pause.
gonna pass out.
Oh shit.
I keep forgetting that time doesn't
Oh, I
pause when
can't
you
make
open
it.
the chests.
Yeah.
I can't make it either.
At
Oh,
least I made it in the house.
I made it to bed.
GG.
You did. I made it in the house. Nico.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I can do the
I
limb
was
now.
too caught up on fishing.
Yeah, there's a rock swarm there. Well, let's
Mono
hope
and
I got
Momo have
something
passed
decent.
out.
Did all of us pass out?
We do it together.
No, I made it to bed.
Oh.
I'm the
Can you-
responsible one here.
Can you start the event in the channel
we were
ring
fishing,
so that
right?
message will go away?
What did
Thank
I
you.
lose? Did I lose anything?
Or no,
Doesn't
yeah.
look
No,
like
it's
it.
just when I hover
Lose
that I see it.
money.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Farming level 7. Congrats. Thank you.
We already have
Oh.
silos.
Yeah. Lina said that they just took money. That's okay. Thanks.
So
Favorite
now I
technique,
can make this. Fiber, wood, and pine tar.
Are we saving our Omni Geodes for any reason, or can I go get Clint to open them?
Do we have good luck today?
No.
That's the only reason. Yeah.
I wouldn't take them.
Wait. Someone was running through your pockets? You had the same message, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't think I lost anything.
It's
I
good.
didn't either.
I just need 4 more fishies.
And pine. So I need pine. There's
Oh,
spider.
Rose, were you here before? When we added these chests here?
Oh, okay.
No, were you?
I don't know.
I
The
need
ones
pine
next to
tar
the...
things.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah,
And
the
then
left one
I
is
take
for...
things out of here. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I get a bonus from selling off the land things, and Mono gets a bonus from selling.
And yeah, and don't forget anything that we want to process or go to the whatever goes in this pink truck.
You're breathtaking.
Momo.
I'm fishing. Oh no! Oh,
Good job. It's okay. We have plenty of corn anyway.
So I need those things. I need all the resin things, so I guess I'm gonna have to look at making some toppers.
Doing the...
Copper and wood.
I was gonna say milking.
I do need 20, or you guys have the furnace thing, right?
Meow meow meow
Yeah.
The furnace thing?
Yeah, we need 20 copper ore and 25 stuff. I have a quest to make a furnace.
Do I? Hold on.
Oh.
Oh, I do too.
Really?
Yeah. Did the
that's
silo
really
one
good.
go away? I'm hoping the silo one went away. Meow, 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 meow,
Yes,
meow.
the silo one went away. I don't have it.
Good.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it was an
Fixed it.
update. Also, now when you wear your explosive rings on the farm, it's not supposed to blow anything up.
Explosive rings?
Yeah, that's my
that's
other
right.
game.
What's that, Precious? Oh, that sounds so cool.
We were blowing everything up, and come to find out, you didn't have to. Well, I was gonna put that in there and make a thing, but I can't.
Does corn become anything? Pickled corn?
Pickled
I
corn.
need a
Yeah.
gold
Or
doohickey.
corn juice when we have a kid.
Mm.
Does
Which,
anyone
of course,
have
we
the
have to have
bomb
corn juice.
crafting recipe yet?
The what?
What?
Bomb crafting yet?
I have the tiny bomb, but it takes 4
Okay.
copper per thing. And I have one big.
Oh.
I have 8 big bombs if you want them. Here, take them with you.
Oh, I'm already in the mine.
Okay. Well, come see me.
Cause you said that I wasn't supposed to do the geodes today because we didn't have good luck. Okay.
So I am dropping the big bombs and the cherry bombs in that chest near the furnace. So there's multiple
great.
bombs in there that you could grab.
Thank you
Bomb.
for dropping your big
Hi,
bomb.
Michigan. Yes.
You were selling silver, right?
Yes.
Hello, world. It is your quiet.
Selling? Selling silver items. Keeping gold for now. And processing
Can we
plain.
sell the midnight carbs? I can, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to show him.
We just have to catch them.
You're special. Here, you guys.
The cat is hanging out at the bins because I just sold fish.
He can smell it. He knows. Now, I did find that for some reason, when you process silver eggs, they don't give you silver mayo. They just give you plain. When you process iridium eggs, they just give you, I guess, gold or something. They don't give you iridium, so you might as well sell anything that's iridium because you're not going to get iridium processed goods right now for some reason.
Iridium? Is that like a combination of iridium and uranium?
No, that's Concerned Ape. It's the purple star.
Yeah, iridium, not uridium.
Did I say uridium?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what I said. Let's see.
That's why I was asking if it was a
That was
combination
easy.
of iridium and uranium.
I don't know what I said. Don't pick on me.
It's a very special substance.
Yeah. Why is this thing not staying on
I'm
my
sure
ear
it's
today?
volatile too.
It's not staying on my ear
Are
today.
the silos full, by the way?
They should be. Or at least pretty
Depends.
close to.
Oh, there's lots of fruit in
Oh
there.
no.
I
Yeah,
checked
make sure.
it.
See if any of it we need for the community center if you want.
Yeah,
'cause-
I got a Momo. Peach.
Oh. It's like a Momo.
It's a Momo. Momo. That's actually why Aang called him Momo in Avatar Last Airbender. Because he was eating a peach.
Oh.
Yeah.
I saw there's a guy on TikTok who does like songs but in wedding procession style, so like
Yeah.
soft piano remakes of things.
Yeah, I want
And
the
he did
Avengers one.
he did Secret Tunnel
Yeah.
in like a wedding a wedding
Ah.
procession style.
Fuck yes.
Cute.
It was amazing. I'm like I have so many regrets now that I did not use that to walk down the aisle at my wedding.
You guys just have to get married all over again.
Yep. Tell Thor.
yearly ceremony to
Right.
renew your vows. Yep.
Why
Every
are you
5
doing it
years.
so soon? Well, there's this song.
So because of the song, yeah.
We just rewatched Avatar, so it's very
See, there you go.
necessary. And
Would
our
you like
anniversary's
the-
coming up, so
There you go. It's just a
Oh, it's
3-year
Lonnie's
anniversary.
birthday.
Right?
oh shit.
Trash bin has already been here.
I'm just waiting for it to be 10 o'clock so I can start.
Oh,
Or-
I did lose one.
Yeah.
Before. Large milk, summer squash, corn, sea cucumber. There's a lot of fish in
King
here.
Oh, that was
Canadian
our,
Toboggan.
That was our fall Grange thing
Right.
for the festival. So,
Oh wow, we just got mixed flower seeds. Whoop-de-doo.
Oh, I love the mixed flower seeds. I think
from
that's
the
a fun
thing.
new
What's the
feature.
next prize?
The
Um,
3 blind boxes.
No.
On my way.
Let's see.
On your way.
I have a prize ticket, so.
Oh.
Remember we played to get the prize tickets?
Yeah. Oh, there's one of the things I need, I think. And
I mean, we do
then.
have time till then.
Yeah, you'll make it before 8.
I need that for the oak trees.
Someone needs to come hit the tree right in front of Sam's house.
Not
Why?
oak.
There's a bunch of trees in town that have moss on them, and I don't have the thing.
Oh. They're all
They're
iridium.
special. That was easy.
Should I sell them? The iridium fishies and stuff?
I need an oak tree, and I think
Yeah,
we have
why
chopped
not?
down all our oak trees.
Oh, we got regular mixed seeds out of that prize ticket. The next one after that is.
I need
No,
oak
I
trees
got
up
the
here.
mixed seeds. What?
No.
I wonder
We
if it
chopped down
changes
all
for
our trees.
everyone.
Probably.
It probably each person earns it.
Each, yeah.
Mhm.
Damn.
Oh, hi, Sam. I know
How
you're.
you do?
I know you're lemons. It's fine, but hi.
Fishing time.
I have to
We
find
have
an
a
oak tree because we have managed to
damn.
chop them all down. And I need like 4 oak trees.
I just heard a
Oh, while
crash
you're
from the
hitting
kitchen.
trees. Oh no.
I'm hunting
But
for
it's not
trees.
mine.
There are no trees. We've murdered them all.
Okay, but the ones in town have moss on
Trees.
them. You need to at least hit them once. Can't chop them down, but you can hit them.
There's one tree down there.
Wait, it has to be an oak tree. They're yellow,
Ah.
not pink right now.
I know.
They look like
But
the
I
pink
need you.
ones, but they're yellow.
To go hit those trees and get the moss.
I know.
Oh, because you don't have an axe.
Has to be
Mhm.
today?
I only have my fishing pole on me right now.
Let's see.
Aren't you standing next to me?
Slave driver.
I am. I'm waiting until 10.
You don't have a Skype?
Oh.
I
Oh,
only have my
catch.
fishing pole on me.
Catch it, catch it, catch it.
Gotcha.
I'm at half energy. That's why I'm waiting until 10 to fish.
Is that
It
you?
doesn't take a lot of energy, but it takes energy.
I'll just eat this.
Oh, thanks for the cheese.
Thank you.
I'm gonna eat the cheese.
Ooh, a gold trimmed shirt.
Oh, good God,
Fancy.
that filled my energy.
That's 225. That's a lot.
Yee. I know what I'm doing.
Hey, you got the jetty.
Mhm.
Your rod goes further than mine.
I'm so aggravated.
That took
Why?
a little longer. Ah, you motherfucker! I was
Because
so
we
close
need-
to the treasure.
But you had the midnight carp though.
Yeah, but I was so close to getting the treasure, and it just decided to follow.
That sucks. But
Because
why-
we don't
why
have
did
any
you kill it?
living oak
I wanted
trees,
the treasure.
and
No, I mean Mono.
Oh,
because we don't have any living oak trees, and I can't make kegs until we have living oak
Oh.
trees.
Oh, we can
It'll be
keep an
okay.
eye on the traveling cart.
Yeah.
We also need
Oh,
to
we
keep
only
an eye.
need two
Oh
more.
wait, no, the thing changed. Never mind.
mhm.
Because I always
Yeah,
forget to
check
keep an
that.
eye out for red cabbages in the
Mhm.
traveling cart. I
Yeah.
don't know if we have.
Because that's like the only way to get one, like year one usually, and then, or if you miss it or whatever.
Mhm.
I wonder if there's one up here. It's a long way to go to find an oak tree,
You're getting older fishies.
but I can't find one. Oh, it's getting late.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's a carp.
The farm is extinct. The oak trees have been
Nope.
extinct. I'll have to look for acorns and plant one.
Oh my god, I have so many red geodes.
Oh, that wasn't it.
Do we have a geode crusher?
Not yet.
No.
That's a thing?
Mhm.
So you don't have
Yeah,
to
and
go
then we don't
to-
have to peg plant.
Oh.
It just takes
See,
forever.
I didn't know that either. I didn't know that either.
These little bastards. Man.
I got the treasure.
Mhm.
Woo.
Yeah. Alright, we're gonna
You
drop
got this,
this guy.
Momo.
Yeah.
Yes, that's our final one, I think.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
I got an anchor and some
Aquatic
Nice.
overpopulation. Midnight Heart is an unsuitable level. I need a local angler to help reduce. So I got the money too?
Mhm.
Everybody.
Oh.
We're not gonna make
Oh
it.
shit.
Remus.
I'm the only
We're
good
at least
soul
on
in
the
bed
farm.
right now.
Boom.
Uh,
I'm going to
back
go
in my
check
house.
the kitchen, so
I'm
I'll be
in
right
my
back.
Okay.
house.
We can pause right here.
Oh no.
What have you been doing?
oh no, you're on Big U.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Because we're pausing right here.
Oh, gotcha.
She's checking the kitchen.
I heard a crash.
And I gotta find my brain and figure
Well,
out what the
I
heck
don't
I'm
think
doing.
it's Cat Thor. He's hanging out on top of the chair.
Cat
Oh,
Thor's
Rose
always
leveled
the
up.
best.
I should probably fix that fence.
Mhm.
All right, well. Who knows?
Fix
Up
the
to no
fence and
good.
plant some oak trees if I can find some acorns. Alright. You brought snacks too.
I did. They're spicy queso popcorn chips.
That sounds
They're
amazing.
so
Interesting.
fucking good.
We had Lugway on the way.
What's Wugway?
It's Subway.
Oh,
Oh, I was like, what?
what?
I was like, I had no idea either.
Lug.
Sorry, I didn't
I've
mean to
been calling
scream
it
when, like,
Lugway because in our last campaign, we were in a bullywug town, and they had a sandwich chain called Lugway, and the sweet onion teriyaki chicken was the only one that was the Subway copyright glitch.
Oh,
Amazing. Oh, you're waiting on me. Sorry, I was telling a story.
no, that's fine.
Get my tuna sandwich. Hey, at least we got 1,500 out of that.
Computer. No, thank you.
another unlucky day.
Let me
Oh,
try this.
now she wants the pumpkin, so if you guys got pumpkin stash somewhere, we each need a pumpkin to take to Caroline. Or at least I do. I unlocked it now.
I had one. I don't know where it's gone.
Look at my little mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
Mushroom. Ooh, I didn't realize broccoli reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just like the butternuts did and stuff. It just keeps
Farm
growing.
computer? What is that?
It helps you keep track of what you need to do on the daily.
Mm-hmm.
If you use it, but I've never used it.
I've never used it.
It's like, did you water the animals? You know, not did you water them, but did you feed them? Did you love on them? Did you? I don't know. I haven't looked at it in detail to see exactly what all it says, but I know it says things and stuff.
Kind of funny.
Me getting Stardew on mobile, so I don't play with anyone. Turtle, I will smack you. I will buy you Stardew.
If you get Game Pass, it's in there as well.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Oh, I got 30 hay.
Hell
Do we already have hay in the thing?
Yo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's full right now, but you can hang on to it or sell
Are we
it.
good on the community center for hay?
Yeah, I got my pickaxe, but I gotta go upgrade it again. It's not steel yet, it's still copper now.
For hay, I have no idea.
Alright. I don't see it in the community center thing, so I'm just putting it in the chest next to my house.
We are not good for hay on that, so.
Oh, we're not?
Nope.
What do you mean?
Oh,
on
I
the
was looking
bulletin
in the
board.
animal bundle, not in Marnie's.
Oh.
I got you.
Oops, my finger confirmed the purchase. Just smack you. Well, I mean, you can learn the game on your own, so then you play, you'll know
I mean,
what to
it
do.
is only $5. It's not bad.
Yeah. He's just practicing so he can learn how to play.
Oh, we do need a cabbage for this one. Okay.
Yeah, I'll
I
take.
wasn't sure if we still did or not.
Okay.
The changing of... Oh, no, the changing of the thing was the other game. That's what... Got you. I'm getting so confused.
Let's see. We put this in there. Leave one in there. Start putting up each thing in there. Oh, there's fence pieces. I need to do that. I need to work on fixing this fence. Kidding? I'm gonna smack you.
So are
You're
these
trolling me.
pumpkins for taking, or like what are the vegetables in here for? Are those
gold
for the community
ones-
center?
I have a
Community
couple
center.
that I was gonna take to the community center.
Oh, okay,
Everything
then
in
I'll
there
let
is
you do
either
your
community center,
thing.
museum, or
Did you say that
Caroline.
you wanted hay, Rose? I just need
And
one.
Caroline
Get
needs
in there right
them.
now.
Oh, okay. So then we don't need the thing. So we have the fruit. I don't know where these are supposed to go.
Repairing fences. Love it.
Oh,
Train's passing.
train!
Run and go get the goodies. If you wish.
Ooh, and then we need to be saving apples too.
We need 10 of them?
Three.
3. Okay.
I just found one.
Yay!
I have a silver one on me. I didn't realize that we needed 3 of them. For whatever reason, I thought we needed 1.
No, we need it. I think there's a place you need 1 in the community center, and then there's a place you need 5, I think, as
Caroline
well.
is up here.
Oh, found her.
I missed the train. I wasn't fast enough.
Okay. Minecraft, Star Who. Oh my gosh. Uh-huh.
Can you guys hear me crunching in my microphone?
Doesn't bother me.
Okay.
You're good.
Excuse me.
see.
Oh, that's handy.
Just gonna take down this whole thing and put up new pieces. I think I made the mistake of putting some of those pieces up there on the other one, and I'm gonna have to like come back and fix those remaining pieces when they die like the next day. I didn't know you could repair the fence with the animals in it and they won't escape. Pretty cool. They just stayed there and let me fix the fence. They were such good babies.
They're so well trained.
Barely.
Mom, the fence is broke.
Come fix it.
Right? Alright, so
I grabbed the pumpkin for Caroline, but I figured I might as well just complete the bundle.
Oh, yeah. Do we have any more pumpkins
Yeah.
going?
Yeah, they're in the by the
Oh my God.
preserves.
This cat and his plastic obsession.
Hey Momo, you're playing Stardew.
Huh? Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
just
was.
got that.
Oh, Rain, there's a prize ticket in the next to the community board. Because
What?
we did the fishies for everybody. There's a for me there was a prize ticket next to the community board thing.
Oh.
Now we can get the blind boxes.
Oh, I was gonna look for an acorn.
I didn't even look there.
They're called mystery boxes, but yeah. No, I was just going there and I found out, right?
There's no acorns! No!
So not
see
only
what's
do
in
we get
them.
money, we get things. Ooh, fuck yeah.
How do I
Clint's
open them?
closed.
No!
I know.
Okay.
Ooh, what do I get after that?
A peach?
I'm
Dude,
getting
I was playing
like
my game earlier, and he wasn't
some
at his
kind of
shop
drink.
during open hours.
Hmm?
I was playing my game earlier, and he wasn't at his shop during like hours he was supposed to be open. And I was like, what is happening? Stalking Emily.
Very like him. Oh, we have another B box, so. Yes, Wugway's finally on the way.
Oh, right, it's some sort of drink.
When you're in town, as the lights come on. You said the board has.
I checked the
Oh,
page.
yeah, I see that. I take it.
I love how we haven't
Cool.
watered the plants.
Oops.
It's fine. Do it.
Oh, good.
My fishing
Trash
skills are
pandas.
heated right now.
Trash pandas.
I did the town.
Dun da da da. We're at the bottom of the mine.
Yay!
GG.
Level 100 means star drop.
But we need 120. The bottom.
I was honest. I was like, I made up for the prizes, and he's not happy about that.
Oh, maybe you shouldn't have prize incentives.
Right? Broccoli. Which is so late in the season, and probably just saved my broccoli for later. Orange sapling. They'll catch really bad.
Are we not chopping wood for a reason?
Hmm?
From the oak trees?
Don't kill oak trees.
Yeah, because we need to make
No, I need to tap them.
resin.
I need to tap them so we can make kegs.
I
And we murdered all the trees. There are no oak trees on the farm anywhere. I can't
there's
find
a
one.
maple tree here as well, or the pink one.
The pink ones are maple. The pines are obviously pines. You can tell by looking at them. And the other ones look like the maples, but they're gold and yellow color right
Oh,
now.
that's this one. Yeah, that's this one.
Okay, so you found a yellow one?
Yeah.
Sweet. I'll have to find you and find it so I can tap it. I got a tap on me.
It's near the mines, the association thingy.
Oh, okay. One place we probably didn't murder trees.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because it requires going past the mine.
Mm-hmm.
You've been bad. Oh, jeez. What did you do? Besides troll me about Stardew.
Level 110 has the space boots still if you haven't been there.
I gotta go to all the levels, I
It's
think.
too late for me.
Yay! Momo found an oak tree. Oh, it makes me so happy. This is the only one on the farm. If you guys chop it down,
The
gonna beat you.
only oak tree. We literally made the oak trees go extinct.
Yeah. And there's no whatchamacallits, no acorns anywhere either. We've ate all the acorns because we're squirrels.
Yeah. Oh,
So I
God.
can't even grow them.
Accurate.
You ate them?
Yeah, because you craft field snacks out of them.
Oh no.
So they've all been eaten. Let's see what my star drop tastes like.
Wait, where?
Level 100.
Level 100.
You gotta go to all the
Pizza!
levels now.
100. I'm confused. There's nothing here.
So go to like all the levels. that
All
are
level
within
10s. You gotta hit the 10s, all of them. You might have missed one.
There's no star drop at 110. I think it's at like 90 or 80.
Base boots. Ooh. Dang.
I think I did all the 10s, so that's why I'm confused.
Must have.
Okay, then you probably already got the star drop.
No.
Caroline needs a pumpkin. I finally got that
It'll
one.
show up for all of us.
You may have got it last stream.
Really? Can't remember it. But okay.
That or you didn't go through. You said you went through all the levels though, right?
I thought I did. How much energy? do
3
you have
and
now?
3, 4, 4. These boots are nice.
I
I
have
have
full
3 or
energy.
4.
What?
My energy is full.
I don't have my full energy, but I have.
Like max energy you can have is 338.
That's what I currently have. That's my max right now.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna have that because I missed the festival.
Oh
Fuck.
yeah.
38,
So
yeah.
you didn't get that star drop.
It's bedtime.
I'm sorry.
Oops.
Oh yeah, I'm in the mine. I'm gonna get murdered in here and somebody's gonna take my stuff.
She's SOL.
At least I made it out of the mine, so maybe they won't take too much stuff.
Like, Linus will save you.
Yeah, I'm like-
energy did you say you have, Mono? Max?
I don't want them to take like my weapons or stuff. That's what I'm worried about.
Oh yeah, smart. Oh, I heard that crunch noise.
It's not that bad,
Oh,
Nurse. It's
sorry.
okay.
No, it was just just one loud one.
It doesn't
Okay.
pick up very much for you.
No,
I think I'm okay.
it's sunny.
Take care of yourself.
If you think about it, running on this like dirt path kind of sounds like potato crunches.
Somebody. Yeah, it does.
Small bass,
Smallmouth
mouse
bass?
frenzy.
What is that?
Yes, I'm gonna go catch some smallmouth bass
Do it.
in town.
What does it do, though?
I don't
It just
know,
means there's
it's
an
a lot.
extra amount of fish at the moment. Frenzy means they're easier to find and catch that particular type of fish at this moment.
Hello.
Oh, don't forget
Feeding
to have the mystery box.
Oh yeah. Well, he's not open right now yet. So. No, Emily, because you're not giving me a prize ticket. You're
Did
not
anybody
getting a
check
jade.
the luck?
The what?
Look, no.
No.
It's annoyed.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Cool.
again?
No, the last time
Annoyed.
it was neutral.
So then I
Now it's
definitely don't want to
annoyed.
open my mystery boxes yet.
Right. Good catch. Where's all the wood going, guys? Where's all the wood going?
And places wood should go.
And I'm fixing the fence. Oh, I have some wood on me if you need it. Because I've been fixing this dang fence.
That's okay. I was just wondering because every time I put 10 in, it's gone by the time I come back. Like, whoosh, magic.
Just don't kill any oak trees and leave a couple of whatever's. I think we got some down there at the bottom of the other kind of stuff that we'll need. Like a maple and a regular.
Oh, that's right.
Resin.
Yeah, because the only fish
Pine
I need to
tar.
catch is a sandfish. I can't go to the desert yet, right?
Yeah, we unlocked that. No, we didn't. That was the other game, I think.
No. Stepdad's playing Fallout 4.
When they bunch up like this, and I don't know who I've milked and who I haven't, because they're all like stacked on top of each other. Crazy cows. And you're hiding in the bushes, so I'm not sure if I got you or not.
I'm catching a fish.
It doesn't say. It's like a milking grass or something instead. There.
No.
So, do we need... We don't need large goat's milk anymore, do we? No.
What was our next goal?
Well, if we had trees, we could save up and expand our barns and get rabbits and stuff like that to work on the community center and make wool, but we don't have enough trees.
What kind? Like normal trees? You mean?
Yeah, we don't have normal trees.
What happened to
fuck
all
made
the
all of
trees?
why do we
Rain
need-
believes in deforestation. I know who did
I
it.
mean, we still have pine cones and maple seeds. We can still
Alright.
some, right? There's pine cone and maple seeds.
Yeah, but we need the acorns.
I know, but
Yeah.
we need wood too. So
That's
until
fair,
when
yeah.
does it grow? Because until when it grows in fall still, but not in winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would I be on time with sowing them today?
No.
No?
No, we only got
We
8
only have
days
8
left.
days.
How long does it take for it to mature? Longer. probably.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let me
I think
check.
they say when you hover over them.
Let me see. Oak tree takes. It doesn't actually tell you.
No, it just had stages. Stage
Mhm.
1, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I accidentally
Mhm.
picked up like cheeky. Took it with me.
I'm also pretty sure they'll grow during the winter because fruit trees do.
Really?
Hmm.
I didn't think they did.
He's changed the rules. I don't want to,
28 days.
so I don't know exactly.
Trees,
That's a
A
fruit
whole
tree, yeah.
season. Mhm.
or at least fruit trees definitely used to.
Well, there's a new surprise about winter that
Oh, we
I don't know
know
if
yet.
you guys know. I don't know if you guys know or not, so I don't really want to spoil it.
There's supposedly actually something called tree fertilizer that we get in level 6.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mhm.
You know, you can craft tree fertilizer.
I'm gonna try
Check
turning
it
my
walk
camera off
faster.
and seeing if that helps with the lag at all that I have.
Could help.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm still here.
It might help
Where are
because
you?
cameras
It's
do a
you.
lot.
No.
Rose, we're worried you disappeared.
I got buried in the mine.
There's Rain just holding a salmon in the air mindlessly.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Wikipedia. I'm eating a tuna sub. IRL.
Yeah. Don't freak out. I'm upgrading that pickaxe finally. That's my second skill set is mining too. My secondary skill set.
Crops are watered.
Poor Momo. Who has crop watering as their secondary skill set and is helping Momo?
Is that a thing? Wait, let me check. Oh, it just got. I'm farming level 6 now. Don't know.
I'm making Meebo mad as always. You want this? Probably not. There. I go back and try to make them happy after they see me taking the trash by handing them things. Okay, I gotta find Caroline. She is usually in the store, right?
You still gotta give her something.
Yeah, I still gotta give her the pumpkin. I didn't do that yet.
Little something, something.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
want to know what's really
cookie?
funny. Our
Marnie,
Dasher's name was Pierre.
wait. What?
The Dasher that brought our food was named Pierre.
Okay.
Like the
Did you go
general
snooping
store
around
owner.
his dresser?
Like what?
The general store person in Stardew.
Ah, duh. Yeah.
Hear you rummaging through those trash cans.
It's Mona.
Not me.
No.
Not me this time. I can.
Sebastian. Sebastian.
Make your move.
Spirits Festival.
Oh, that's soon, isn't it?
I need
Oh,
Yeah,
snacks
they were
now.
talking about. I clicked through it though.
It's okay.
Ooh, I got an
I have a
emerald.
terrible
In
headache.
the trash.
Ooh.
And suddenly it's night. It's those damn crickets again, Mono.
Oh god, don't remind me. I'm gonna murder that thing. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So is there a reason we keep putting the row in the
Yeah,
garden
you make.
stuff?
Yeah, you should put it in the preserves. You can get more money out of it that way.
Ooh.
There's 2 oak trees growing in the at the bus stop. They're still not done, but they are growing. Hey, Mono.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Wait, what? Thanks.
Why is the corn? Why is the golden parsnip still blinking?
Because we can't
We did.
do it yet.
We can't do it.
Wait, but the pumpkin.
We need the pumpkin. We don't have all of the pumpkins. Yeah.
What? I thought we had those.
No, we need the gold pumpkins.
Is it still
I know we have
growing?
several growing. Yeah.
Right,
The ones
okay,
that I
okay.
picked the other day were not gold.
Okay, well, maybe. Oh, no, it doesn't matter.
Fixing this.
How good do I have to be friends with Marnie before she lets me in her house?
2 hearts.
Oh,
Ultra.
well.
The
One
turtle
heart.
got it.
Give her eggs.
Eggs?
Yeah, that's what I usually do.
I gave her the amaranth grass.
Mm.
Yeah, she's gonna request that.
Oh, I thought it was like a. Oh, oops.
No, she's gonna ask for it. It's gonna be part of one of the requirements to.
What is this naked tree here? What kind of tree is that? With the one
What
without
tree?
the leaves.
Oh, it's
Doesn't
dead
have
tree.
leaves.
Which tree?
Oh,
it's
that's
dead
a wild tree.
The
Okay.
one
wild
next
tree.
to our house?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't touch those.
Okay, just in time. I was chopping it.
I
Do
need
we-
those.
For
Do we have
Marnie.
a place for storing the gold stuff? I forgot one of those chests up top.
Gold?
Yeah, it was in the pink chest.
Okay.
Yeah, I need my wild tree for my mushrooms and my moss.
But yeah, there's an amaranth in the thingamajig, and eventually
Oh,
you're
I
gonna
need
get
that
asked to
too.
give her one. Yeah. There's one about the
Yeah,
garden,
I have that
so you
quest
can.
right now.
Yeah. So there's
Okay.
4 silvers in there.
Grab that.
And I made a blue one for that row stuff.
Cool.
That way.
For tomorrow.
So there's a pink chest for gold stuff? No, there's not.
I mean, it's for all our community centers. It's the only one I
Yeah,
know.
but no, I was talking about for just gold star stuff if we're keeping gold star stuff in general. I don't think we have one, I guess.
No, we don't have one for gold.
I don't have enough wood to make one. I'm missing 8 wood.
I can make one for a gold star and put it over here near
Well, I
our
just put
food.
3 in the thing.
3 what?
Wood.
Alright, I
Selling
made a
wood?
gold star.
No! I put it in the wood thing.
Yes, she's selling the wood.
I was like, what?
Why would I sell the wood?
Okay.
What the heck?
We have a gold star item chest now to put gold star items in that we can hoard our famous beautiful things.
I keep getting
What's in a blue chest at the
Row fish stuff, because apparently you can process it in the jars.
Stuff chest already. But
yeah, but for just the row itself.
Okay.
Because she keeps dropping it in the garden chest.
Well, it gets preserved.
So.
What? Why?
Next time.
Sleeping.
Ah!
Come on, Mono, you can make it.
Oh, she wasn't listening again.
No. My ear thing keeps popping out of my ear today. I don't know why.
You're special.
Ah! Don't do that while I'm pushing it back at it.
It was on purpose.
Oh. If we're waiting on Lemon to come back, I'm gonna go grab chips.
Sorry, there were noises in the kitchen again.
Fucking cat.
I swear to God, they're gonna be the death of me.
I feel bad.
I blame women. This is my last little bag of chips too. I need more chips. But see, I buy the little bags because it's portion control. So when I do eat them, I don't eat a whole big bag of regular chips.
Queen of Shosh. Blaze jams. Stop picking up the fucking suffix. No. Let's see. Some mildly protrude.
Glazed yams.
The spirits. What do we keep doing to fuck the spirits? Like,
I don't know.
They hate us.
be happy
Come on,
with
guys.
us.
They're usually grumpier in the fall for whatever reason.
Well, I wonder why.
I mean, that's valid.
Why? Fall is awesome.
Maybe they're just cold.
Okay,
Well,
let's
they
see.
should stop being some bitches.
Sorry, the ducks.
Oh, where's the amaranth?
And
Down near the farm.
Yeah.
Down by the farm. I'm still organized. One of these chests will be for like gold star items. One of them's for like cooking items. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Miscellaneous things.
Millions of peaches. Peaches for me.
Wow. Okay, and then
I'm doing important stuff, so I'm not tending the farm at the moment.
I'm helping water. If that's cool.
That's
Mhm, mhm.
perfectly fine.
There's a golden. There's the bronze.
Yeah.
Watering can. Oh, you found it. Cool.
Yeah.
A common mushroom from Lewis, 120 gold. Field
we
trip.
probably have mushrooms somewhere.
So you still need a lot of moss?
No, I just like my moss.
Oh.
She
Yeah,
just likes
hoarding
being
moss.
mean to
Moss
me.
makes deluxe bait.
It does?
Gotta get
Oh.
that
Yeah.
deluxe bait, yeah.
Yeah, I mix it with
Alright.
bug meat. I can get deluxe bait.
Cool. Are you ready? Are you ready for everybody ready?
No.
For what?
Yeah. You're not ready?
For
No.
what?
Well, get
I have
ready.
to be ready for it.
I gotta know what I'm getting ready for if I'm gonna be ready.
There you go.
Hey!
Yay!
Yes! Our gold pumpkins.
Bundle complete. I like it.
Wait, does that make that whole thing complete?
Yeah.
Is that the pantry?
The house was empty for years. The trees moved in, so did we. So now we have the kitchen clean.
Yay!
I think I may have one of those already. I
You
gotta
can't
go
actually do anything there, can you? No. We have our second star.
Let's see.
I promise I'm way more excited about it. I just food.
I harvested the pumpkin. I was like, oh my god, there's so many gold.
So what do we unlock with that
Doing
room?
it in secret. What?
What do we unlock with that room?
I'm not sure.
I think it's the greenhouse.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, so we did it
That'd
just
be
in time for
awesome.
winter. Let's go check Robin.
And we have all those saplings, so that'll be great.
Mm.
We can, if we do it today, it's gonna be in time for winter. Not
All
that
those
that
fruit
matters,
trees.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
The end of the winter, yeah.
ramen is open today.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Or does it need to wait till night before we can do the greenhouse?
I replaced that whole row. I don't know
No,
why
it
that
just
fence is-
automatically updates.
Oh, so the night, so just she doesn't build it.
It just
The
overnights.
Junimo fixed it.
Ah.
So she doesn't build the greenhouse? The Junimos do, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, are you interested in? No, it might be not. Okay. We could get a calendar and a workbench, but I don't know if we're saving for something.
No.
Are we?
Yeah, I don't remember how much. I think it's like 10,000 a pop for the barn expansions and stuff, but I need to go check on all those specs.
I'm here.
You wanna add?
Have you checked?
Yeah, tell me what the specs are and I'll write it down.
Or?
For the deluxe or biggest barn and the biggest coop.
So the deluxe coupe is 20 gold,
Oh wow.
500 wood, and 200 stone, and we don't have enough wood. And deluxe barn is 25,000 and 550 wood and 300 stone.
350 wood and 300 stone.
Wait.
You went so fast.
Yeah.
I couldn't write that fast.
Oh yeah, you were writing down. Which one? The coupe or the barn?
Both?
Coupe is 500 wood, 200 stone,
Uh-huh.
20,000.
20,000, okay. No other items? Okay.
No. And the barn
Okay.
is 25,000,
Mm-hmm.
550 wood, and 300 stone.
300 stone, okay. Alrighty. What do we need next for the community center, though? Is
and
that
if we
dang
want
rabbit's
to
paw?
Wow, we don't. A mill?
The dang rabbit's paw in it.
Probably. Yeah, but we don't have the bus yet. What do I need for the bus again?
A lot of fucking money.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's like 50, more than 50,000 in total. It's like 25, 10, 5, 2,500, I think.
25,000, 35, 40, 4250. 42.5, which we actually have just enough.
I'll do that.
I mean, we could just go ahead and do it. We can't make any of the barns right now anyway.
Yeah, I can. I can make
Wait.
one. I got 517 pieces of wood.
Wait, make one what?
One barn.
I can do the coop.
Extra.
I just need another 100 stone. I have the
I'm
wood.
in the
I
mines
just
right
don't-
now. And I've got stone in my thing that I can drop, but do we want to do the bus or do we want to do the farm, which is more important, do we think?
We need the rabbits. So
Need the rabbit
yeah.
foot.
I'd be okay with that, and then I mean we can get the 10 back anyway.
I'll
Pretty
drop the
quickly.
stone in the boxes by the furnace when I get out of the mines.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I had 30 stone in my box, so I just dropped it in the blacksmith box.
Yeah, I've got like 300 something. I've been hoarding it.
Dang,
I keep forgetting to put it away.
that's fair.
Yeah, I saw.
I know I'll get more tomorrow. But I'm trying to get the copper.
Oh, good.
Didn't you have some wood and stone in your chest too, Rain? Next
I
to your
just moved it
house?
all.
Oh, okay. I was dropping the moss in there. I was like, hey, why is she hoarding it?
I couldn't fit it in other places, so shit just goes in place into my box.
There's literally a wood chest.
You know what?
Also, there's
Fight
so
me.
many chests. It's so hard to remember what's in which
Oh.
one.
I do need enough wood to make a thing, though.
Yeah,
Thinking you make it.
we should really like
Put signs
discuss
next to our
about the wood
chests.
because there's not going to be much wood for the next season.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why I was chopping so much.
Mhm.
Yep, there's a maple tree at the bus stop grown now.
Yay. Oh, you mean oak?
Oh, I guess
Is it yellow or pink?
it's yellow.
Yellow.
Oh,
I'm cutting the
yay!
pink. And there's gonna be one more out in a couple of days. Right at the same spot, so it's a good spot. That's a good spot.
There.
Hello there.
Oh, hey.
Mhm.
I'll grab
That's
some.
good.
I
I
was
know
gonna
which.
throw in my row into one of those. And
I
then...
know which tapper I'm
Yes.
moving.
There you go.
There's one off in the middle of nowhere that I'm
Put
And then
them
I'll
gonna
go
in
for
the
that.
in the chest
tree.
that I can sell them.
Yep.
I shall the shit out of it.
It's in your chest, next to the thing.
Oh, thank you.
In your chest.
In your chest.
See, I would like to plant 2 of those oak trees once we can. One next, I guess, spring or whenever they start growing again, next to the pines and
I
the
mean,
maple.
You could just plant them now. They won't die if they might not grow.
We just don't have any seeds, so we can't plant
Oh.
them.
Maple.
That's the
Won't the
problem.
fruit trees die though? Wait,
Ooh, I just
that
got
one?
4 wood out of a box in the mine, y'all.
Nice. Rain, can I go in the chest, or are you doing things?
Sorry. I was
Oh,
grabbing
gosh.
things for when the greenhouse opens. So I could just hop right over there.
Right. I was like waiting. Move along.
So you said the bus stop has an oak tree? I mean,
There's 2
yeah.
more maple seeds right here in my inventory.
I'm not worried about maples, but yeah, you can.
I can sow them
We've
right now.
we've got you can put them in the box with all the other seeds for crafting food, but we won't be able to do that.
Before. The pine cones are gone now, though. Where did they go?
Oh, there weren't any pine cones in there when I was looking.
This orange box. This orange box is where all the pine cones, maple seeds, mahogany seeds, all those seeds are up here in the orange box.
Yeah, I put all the tree seeds in there. That made
That's the tree box.
Right, that's what I thought before.
Where's the stone box?
This is the stone box, the mine box.
The mine box is
yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Rain, I just put a whole bunch of copper in the mine box so you can make your furnace.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I forgot to go to the museum. It is nearly 1 a.m.
Yep.
Alright, I got this one too. Got an extra preserves.
There. How much stone did I need?
I just need 25 stone.
I only need 200. Okay,
Oh, is there not enough?
In there. Yeah, there's plenty.
I was just letting Mono know so she knows to.
One stone in your chest.
Bedtime.
Me?
In the green chest next to the house I'm in now. Maybe that's I don't know who.
That's Rosa's house.
Rose has 250 stone in her chest.
My house is directly next to the Silas.
She stole the stone.
That must have been when I was trying to quickly get stuff out.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought we had way more stone. I was so confused.
Oh, greenhouse.
There's our greenhouse.
A raccoon?
I mean, that's just all stone I got from the mine.
That's a hint. There's a raccoon in the game now, and he does stuff.
I do know about that.
That's true, Rose.
I found him. Or I found it in the fucking notes, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Star thingy. Dried starfish.
Oh yeah, it was a mineral.
Man, I need one
thing.
of those for my game. I gotta give it to one of my fish ponds. God damn it. Wish I could take.
Right?
You need to
I hope we could send. That's what he needs to do next. We need to be able to send each other stuff in different saves.
Literally, that would be so nice.
Mm-hmm.
That would. Oh my god, I would die.
Spirits are not happy again.
Are you
That's fine.
fucking kidding me?
It's
I imagine
because
start with
she's. It's because she's blowing up the mine down there. That's why. You did grab all those bombs and use them, right?
I haven't used the bombs. I have them. I just haven't used them.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you
Do
should.
you need them?
No, but wait until you have good luck, and then use them and blow everything up down there.
Yeah.
No, I'm still waiting on my pickaxe to come back.
It's 20. Okay, we still need to water.
Apparently, I have several swords in my hands that I don't even realize I have either. I need to choose one.
Wait, let's go look into the greenhouse. So pretty.
Rain, did you not make your furnace?
Not yet. I'm in the greenhouse right now.
Nice.
Okay.
She's planting all those fruit
I
trees.
just want to make sure because I didn't want to take the copper I got for you and make a bar.
Could actually put the
Oh my
trees
God.
in a pot, right?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
I think I saw someone do that before.
There's
I
a.
guess
I know you can-
could take the sprinkler from here, from outside.
Oh,
But I know the fruit trees can go in the outer edge of the greenhouse still, which is great. I was
Yeah,
hoping he
which is
didn't
what I'm
mod that
doing.
way.
What's with the outer edge?
You can put the fruit trees in the outer edge of the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Ah,
You don't have to plant them in the dirt. You can plant them on the tile.
that's
Which is
why
where they're
I
planted.
thought it was pots.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, because I saw that they were on the outside.
Someone's gonna have to water this greenhouse because I'm tilling it all so I can make sure I have plenty of room for all these seeds.
Well, be careful. We'll all have to do it then, because if you're sowing them, you're watering them. It's taking up like all my energy nearly.
Yeah,
for the...
it's okay. I could take a nap.
Oh,
and
do you guys
it.
need
That's
help?
Not a big deal.
No, I'm almost finished now.
What are we doing?
She's
Oh.
doing the greenhouse, but she's filling it. So I'm like, I can't do any more than this. Like, this is my.
I just have to take a nap to do it. It's okay. I just figure we can get something out of all this foraging shit.
True.
Oh, want to put sprinkler?
There's one here outside that you could take. It's the good one that I found in the mine.
It's too late now.
Why?
I planted it all.
Oh, I already said it like 5 minutes ago.
It's okay.
Eat.
I have the copper watering can. I'm gonna take a nap real quick. And I can water everything.
Are we selling all the gold stuff now too?
That might be the can we want to go ahead and upgrade to the steel one next, by the way. We really should.
What?
That watering can, we should upgrade to the steel one next.
What does steel do?
More
We get
squares.
More range.
A square?
Well, you know you can hold it down and do a bigger area of watering at one time.
Yeah, but I know this one is 3. I don't know the other one.
Yeah, it's like 9 with the steel, I think.
Nice. Oh, we can do it in winter.
Mhm.
Are we selling all the gold stuff now suddenly? Because all the gold stuff is gone from the.
All the gold stuff is moved to the gold chest,
Right. Where is the gold?
and
There.
I did sell some stuff, some gold when we had like 40 of each item. I was like,
Oh,
okay,
no,
we can
did
find.
you put them in the green chest next to the?
No, I forgot. I messed up. No. I know, I messed up. I realized after I did it, and I was like, oh, crap.
Fuck.
It's like,
That was so much money.
I know. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. It'll be fine.
I'm grateful I don't have to go outside to get water in the greenhouse.
Oh,
And
there's that little pond, right?
oh, now that we have the greenhouse, you can grow parsnips.
We don't have any parsnip things,
We
do
don't
we?
need parsnips
Hey.
anymore.
Oh, we don't
already
need
get
them.
that
Okay.
bundle, remember?
Do we have a seed maker?
Yeah, never mind.
No.
No, not yet. That'll be Momo that unlocks the seed maker, probably.
Mhm.
Let's see where I am. Can I check?
Yeah, just hit E and then go to the little hammer.
It still says sick. The hammer.
Yeah, click on the hammer to see what you can.
I don't think I have plugged up that one yet.
You can scroll down too and see what you all you can make.
I got the farm computer last time.
Mhm.
So did I. But that was from doing a community thing for
I can make
Demetrius.
the quality sprinklers. Iron, I need one iron, one gold, and one refined quartz.
Oh.
Yeah, I think
We have iron. We have refined quartz.
even those only do what 8 squares. So
Yeah. And I still need to make my furnace.
you're gonna have better luck upgrading your watering can than doing those.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's gonna be nice for like spring and
yeah.
more seeds, but for now we're done for.
Yeah.
And
We haven't
what
fixed
what
the
batteries for actually again?
To go to the desert for the
Mhm.
bus.
Oh.
Mr. Key.
Okay, should we sell the goldfish then too? Because I have.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, as long as we don't need it.
No.
So
The only
Like,
fish
as
I
long as
need
we
is a sandfish, so.
yeah, you can sell gold and silver fish, but just keep unless you just want some fancy ones in a fish tank that are really pretty later.
That's the midnight carp. That one's pretty. The rest of the fish.
Yeah.
Really.
I don't know how many we have, but I would keep at least one for me.
You could put a super cucumber in there.
I have.
Like usually I save one of each. So if someone asks for it, we have it.
Yeah.
But some are just really hard to catch.
The midnight carp really isn't that hard to catch. It's just how late you have to catch it.
Agreed.
Which whenever we get that winter event, the midnight market or whatever, they can also catch it then too. Yay! Did that? Oh, I need to grab a freaking pumpkin.
You were saving. Wait, were you looking for stone earlier? Because there was a lot still in Rose's chest.
No, we're good.
I don't need one anymore.
We already ordered the barn expansion, so.
Ah, okay. Sorry, I'm so behind.
We're good. A wild Clefairy has appeared. We'll catch a Clefairy.
I don't have it. I
want it.
Okay, what am I doing today? Oh, it's already 6 p.m. I'm not sure. Secret tunnel. Fucking gnats.
Caroline, I need you. It was Caroline that needed it, right?
And I need you more
Yeah.
than ever. Hello, Demetrius. Oh, so.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hell.
People selling all the teams.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cutscene.
Oh. I need to poke catch as well. Team.
Abigail was unimpressed with the moss that I gave her.
Oh.
Rude.
You'd think that a little moss.
I mean, she's the fucking wizard's daughter. The fuck?
Should be
Can't even
thankful.
respectfully accept it. Rude.
Right? And she's not like other girls.
No.
Wait, did she
She's
just
a
say, "Oh, hi,
Powerpuff
Mono"?
Girl. Huh?
No, like I'm having the cutscene with Sebastian, and I think she just said, "Oh, hi, Mono." I was like, "Wait, what?" Shouldn't be, right?
I think my wild tree is gonna have a baby.
Oh my.
Ooh.
Be cool. I didn't know that was possible.
I didn't either. But there's a little sprouting thing next to the sign for Rose's house in front of my mushroom log. See it? Look at the little baby. Little baby seed.
What do I need now? I need to.
Aw.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Oh, he's in bed. What the fuck? Just sneaking up on him.
Yeah,
Into
the
his bed.
computer.
I'm in his bed. That's
Momo.
so creepy. No! Wait, what happened? Oh.
So my
Huh?
What?
Oh,
You're
she's
cutting
breaking
out.
up.
I'm almost
Rose!
full hearts with the orange kitty.
really laughing again, and it's making the monsters freeze.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
Freeze, monsters, freeze!
Hi there.
And what am I doing? I need to make. I haven't unlocked the thing I need to make yet, so. I haven't unlocked the kegs. Maybe I don't unlock the kegs because I'm not the farmer.
Yeah, maybe I do.
Mm-hmm. Like, thank you for the like, Pink Dundee. Clefairy has been caught by Momo and Turtle. I didn't catch it.
I don't have the keg yet. I have preserved jar. I do have a worm bin. I didn't notice that one.
That's for fishing. You unlock that for fishing.
Oh, that's why I never saw it before.
How what time is it? Because I got kicked out, but I don't want to
It's
join
1
if
a.m.
it's like 1 a.m.
Yeah, you don't
Oh,
want to join
right.
right now.
It's the mark.
Okay, yeah, let me know when I should rejoin.
It is bed
I
time.
blame Thor. You're using up all your internet, didn't you?
Well, he's here, so.
Mm-hmm. He's watching videos, isn't he?
No, he's at work.
And
Oh.
snuggle up to you. What kind of hat are you wearing?
Usually, yes, but.
Me?
Well, maybe he's good luck and he's not there, so
I
that's
know
the
who
problem.
it was, but it wasn't Mono's bed.
Maybe.
Oh, it would be Mono then, because it's not me. I'm in my own bed.
Did you guys see the Discord?
Wait. Do you guys hear that?
Yeah, it sounds like a
There's
tree.
storm. Oh
Windstorm.
no.
What?
What broke? Something broke.
Things crashed and fell.
Yes.
I heard that. Oh, I do like the photo. Momo's all cuddly in bed in Discord with Sebastian.
I just sneaked
It's
in there.
adorable. I love doing that to him. It's great.
Ew. That sounds so weird. I love doing that to him. Hey.
I mean,
No, no.
he
Nice.
goes and decides to sleep in.
Right.
All right.
There's
So
anything
we're
on my-
almost
Please
started.
today. What the fuck?
No, they
I'm going to
did.
the forest to investigate.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see what
You know it's
happens.
north, whatever happened. Maybe.
Is it?
It's what?
Probably.
No, it's south.
Oh, is it our neighbors? Do we get to unlock our neighbors yet?
What neighbors? What? Okay, I'm going south. Oh, the big tree.
Can I go see? Oh,
come.
well, you should have told me to come too if
I
you
haven't
saw
even
it.
clicked it.
Let me come look. Come back and love on the animals. They can just suffer in the barn for a little bit. Ooh, the broccoli's ready. The corn's ready. I get excited. What? It's somebody chopped it down?
The
It
wind.
broke down.
No.
Sad. Do we
The
have
old
enough?
tree is gone. However, with 100 pieces of hardwood, this could be fixed up.
Do we have enough?
I
I
don't
think
know.
we have 100, but
I'm gonna
Momo's
going
the-
right in here. Yeah, I'm going straight.
Momo's the hardwood person, so I don't know.
Can someone check the chest? What's in there?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
there was...
I can check it.
Okay, I'll go back to doing the animal duties.
Nice.
Oh, so we're so
We'll
close.
make it. We'll make it. Yeah.
Pretty soon, just a couple days.
Oh, is that the raccoon?
I got a mahogany seat. Oh no, that's nothing, right?
I
We'll
hope
find
it's
out
the
soon.
raccoon.
That would be nice.
Fuck yeah, mahogany seed.
What does it do though? I thought it was special when I first got
It gives us
but-
hardwood when we chop it.
Oh right, it does.
Also,
So
Rose,
we can make a mahogany
there's
forest.
a little baby wild seedling next to your house too.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
he's right here. You see him?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. Oh, I have a pine cone in my chest.
Nice.
We don't need the
Pine
pine cone.
It's the
Oh,
acorns.
I can build a tree.
It is a tree, true.
Yeah. There's tree seeds in the tree chest near
We
the...
should still, yeah,
the house,
we
the
should
orange
still
one.
Sow them so we can get more.
Probably.
That are
Now that we're out.
How many did you just say? 79?
We
Yep,
need
79.
21.
Damn it! I got 17.
So we'll get the other 4
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Spirits are still displeased.
Yep.
Thanks, spirits.
We've got 16 plus 13 is 29. We have 30 geodes to process.
Fuck.
Not to mention we have a few mystery boxes.
Yep.
Well,
Did you?
So
you
Clint's
all
gonna
pick
have
them
a
up?
good day soon.
I mean...
Yeah, I
Look
picked
at-
them up. They're in my box outside my house.
No, but everybody gets them. Right?
No.
Didn't
As long as you have a prize
and
ticket.
Rose get the prize ticket from the...
We do, but
Yeah, but the
it's
community center's different.
Yeah.
Oh, but this is not a community center.
No, the bulletin board thing at the
Yeah,
end.
from the Midnight Carbs. You can just pick up the card.
Yeah.
That?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
but they have a different sequence than we do.
Is it a different sequence?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
We
Each
have the
person has
same
a different
one.
sequence. Yeah. I think because we started doing it at the same time, but they have different sequence than we do.
Is anybody
Let's
leaving
see.
tree stumps? Oh no. that can
Oh,
cut that.
do we want to do rock rejuvenation or biome balance for the?
Dash,
Snake, I
rainbow
don't know
ears.
them.
Thank you, Dash. Sneaka, neeka, nee.
Can I cut
Welcome
the
to the
pink
stream.
trees?
Yeah, you can cut pink and pine.
What did they,
We-
what did they mean, Rose?
So,
We've
like,
got
the-
tappers on others, so.
Do we want to do crystals? Like, do we want to do crystals for Emily, or do we want to do fishing?
Fishing.
Okay.
Which one is it? What kind of
But
fish?
the lake fish has grown to an unsustainable level.
Okay.
Oh. What? How did you get that?
The bulletin board, the
Ah,
one outside the mayor's house.
Community board.
right, that one. Yeah.
I can do that. Let me go up to the lake and fish.
Fish, fish,
Oh, that's
fish.
annoying.
That'll be easy peasy. It's just
Should
like
I-
fish. It's not a specific one.
Is there anywhere specific I should plant trees?
There's one more yellow one down in the forest near
Okay,
where
I'm-
the Robin's axe
Let's
was.
see. I'll need 40 wood and 20 copper to build another one. I mean, 2 copper. Sorry, 2 copper bars.
I'm
Rose, why do we like
carrying-
Sebastian when he doesn't like pumpkin spice?
Let me look at
That's a good question.
I'm carrying a lot of wood right now, like 130.
I feel like that's a lot more loaded than it should be.
Oh, I found the book. Woody
Okay.
wood. Nice.
Alright. Where's that apparat you said?
It's near the secret door. Near the sewer.
Okay,
down
okay, I
there.
know where that is. Okay, I know where that is.
But
Baby
did you
lizard
find
hatched!
one already? No?
Our dino hatched!
Hey.
Really? Cute.
What are we gonna name it?
Littlefoot.
Spock. Oh. Oh, that's cute, Littlefoot.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, from
Ducky.
the chameleon from Rapunzel. Pascal.
Pascal.
We'll have more, so we'll start with Littlefoot, and then we can do the other 2. Pascal and, whatever the other one I
Ducky.
just said.
Donkey.
Ducky.
Oh, Ducky. Oh. Did you say I could cut oak?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because we're planting more, so
Oh.
you can't cut oak. Don't cut the yellow ones.
Mm-mm.
So I can
Pink and the
cut
green.
Okay, green. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Pink and green.
Because we're gonna need all the wood we can get, honestly. And if we're lucky, by the time winter begins, the game will magically spawn trees.
Okay, and then
I don't want fish. I want an algae.
I'm gonna go attack that tapper, and I'm gonna plant a bunch of trees down there too while I'm down there.
Guys, there was one more stump in our thing. We have the hardwood we need. You
Do
guys
we?
wanna do the tree?
Sweet. Yeah. I'm
Let's
coming
do
that
the
way.
tree.
Hold on, I'm not.
I'm picking up the stuff. The hardwood. I found one more giant tree log in our
Oh, really?
yeah. In our field.
So I can't plant trees here.
I'm on my way.
You coming
I'm
too,
coming from
Rose?
the other side of the
Yeah, I
map,
can
though.
come. I'm coming from town, so I'll be a second.
Yeah.
Hi there. Did I get any seeds? Oh, I have a lot of seeds too. I can help. Oh,
They have to be so far apart, so
this one works, right?
we might have to plant some in. Sometimes if they're too close to the grass, they won't grow
You
either.
need at least one
Oh.
space between them.
I thought it was 4.
Mm-mm.
So I could put one in the middle here. No, it won't work. I could put one here.
Pockets.
Everybody here.
Nope, we're missing one. Or
What do you
we're
mean
missing you.
That is me.
Yeah, we're missing you.
Everybody ready?
Yeah, do it.
2, 3.
The lights Kimon, it is a little house thingy.
Cute.
Is it
Maybe
closed
we'll
right now?
decide to move in. It said.
That's gonna. I think that's gonna be our little raccoon friend.
Yeah.
I
It's gonna
hope
be so cute.
Cute.
Aww. Freaking love it. Little treehouse stomp. Tree stump
Mm-mm.
house. Words are hard.
That's really adorable.
Yeah. That'd be cute.
I thought it would show the
6
scene with
days,
you guys
catch
too.
20 fish.
Mm-mm.
No, it
No,
only
just
does it for the
transform.
Oh no.
one person.
It didn't show much though. It just went black and then the house appeared.
Yeah.
It just automatically changed over for us.
Yeah, it just
Dang,
went
it's already
blink.
time for powder melons seeds.
What?
Watermelon.
Yay!
Yeah.
What
I
is
didn't
that?
tell them. They didn't know about that yet.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. There, okay. Announcements, guys. There's a crop you can grow in winter. It's called powder melons.
Hey.
I just dug some up, so I'll put them in the seed chest.
Oh yeah.
Seeds.
I'm trying to find a mushroom for Lewis, but ah, there's one. He's probably already home though. Fuck. Goddamn mayor.
Were you doing something with the aged row and such?
Yeah, it's gotta go into the it's gotta get processed and then it can get full.
Yeah,
the aged
just
is
regular.
processed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
regular row goes into the chest to get processed, and then the aged row can just be sold.
Okay. I was on my way there anyway. Maybe we should move the shipping bin. At some point.
Maybe?
Dang it, I missed the mayor. Oh, right, Shane doesn't like me. So there's a one of the new Taylor Swift songs on her album is called But Daddy I Can Fix Him or I Can Fix Him, I Swear. There we go.
Oh no.
Okay.
And there have been so many edits that I've seen on TikTok to Shane of Stardew Valley, and I was like, what is
Oh,
even
no.
happening?
Do we
Where?
save the
Which
shrooms
one is
for
the
something?
seed?
What, Momo?
Seed? Oh, I was asking if we're saving the shrooms for something.
Cooking, that's about it, or whatever they need to be for.
There's still a lot of crops in this chest as well up here. The carrots and melons.
Yeah, gold crops are in the gold chest.
No,
The middle
this-
chest is for
Forge.
cooking later.
Oh, for cooking.
I mean,
Something on the
but if you need some of that stuff to process, yeah, steal it to process.
No,
But
we
if
have
you're
so
processing
much
it's
to
full, then I
process.
wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
looks
much
like
to-
there's still
Shit,
plenty.
the crops aren't watered. Fuck.
I think
all
they'll be
this.
okay for a day.
Yeah, they usually
We
are
only
for one
have a
day.
few more days left of the season anyway.
Yeah, I don't think our pumpkins are gonna.
We have the pumpkins. We already did the
Oh,
thing.
we do?
Yeah, the
Okay.
pumpkins
We're
good.
will be on time.
Okay.
And we got the greenhouse, so that
Yeah.
Oh, right. So I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah,
We didn't need the.
it's not
I
gonna
wish
hurt
he.
us that bad.
See, I want to send this yam to my other game so bad because I need a yam.
Weren't we trying
When
for
I,
another gold crop of something?
No, we don't need it anymore
We did it. The pumpkins.
Yeah, the
because we couldn't
pumpkins,
get the parsnips.
Yeah, I know. But I thought there was something else growing there. Too late.
Stretch break,
Oh, the
anyone?
kitty's in my house. That made me feel way too special.
I hope you're doing good, Dash.
Ooh, do I want to be a miner or a geologist?
Ooh.
I like getting double of things, but that's what I
do too.
chose.
Yeah.
I always do the geologist, so I get it. Oh, and combat. Scout or
But
fighter?
the geologist is not double, right? It's the miner is double, or what?
No,
No.
geologist,
Geologist.
the gems come in pairs.
Okay.
Yeah, and the miner's like +1,
Then
which I
choose
don't know
one,
exactly
yeah.
what that does, so I'd rather have 2 of every item up here.
Yeah, probably you get +1 of everything. Like normally you get 3 ore and then you get 4 ore or something. That's probably the gist of it.
Very likely.
Spirits are annoyed today.
Of course.
Assholes.
It said something
Oh,
about
thank you. My daily cheese supply.
Oh. See.
why did I get 2 different? There's a bug, I think. Now they are mildly perturbed and perturbed.
Which house is yours, Mama?
The one with the scarecrow.
Okay.
This one.
Okay.
Pumpkins, what did you do?
I put something in there. Something that'll help you
Oh,
out.
days to sleep on.
I should probably go pick up my pickaxe.
Farming level. Ooh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Where should I put shrooms?
Rain, check your trunk too.
Okay, I'm in the greenhouse watering things right now.
Yeah, no rush.
Where should I keep
Yeah.
shrooms, guys?
The food chest, the light green at the top.
The middle one, right?
Not the middle one, the light
Am I
green.
allowed to
Oh,
take
the
a
right one.
pumpkin for Caroline?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there's tons of them.
Confused. Help.
Mama, up
Yours?
here.
Light green.
Yeah, the light green. Yeah, the light green at the main house has the miscellaneous food items that aren't garden items typically.
Because the one at the the farm is also light green, so I was like,
30
wait.
speed and crit. Speed, sweet, slime slayer. I think I want that movie.
Can't
Don't
help
forget
it.
to water the other crops.
No, I'm coming.
Oh, Crowley.
I got the greenhouse.
Don't we need hazelnuts for something?
No, it's not just a foraging thing.
Okay. But maybe for cooking, like pecan pies or whatnot.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, well, they're gone now because someone put them in the selling chest. I sold them. So the winter crop, we can make those outside. Oh. Cool.
Yeah. Which that one we could probably put up near the main house, at least for a little bit.
I mean, depends on how much we're gonna sow, right?
Well, they're also foraged, like the carrots. So, I don't, because we can't buy them.
Oh, like that. Oh, I get you.
Yeah.
I mean, why are we doing the same one?
Same effort.
Why am I already out? Oh, right, because I went to bed with no energy. That is why. Work.
Okay.
Ark.
Ooh, mystery box and a mossy seed.
Ooh.
We tried planting any of the mossy seeds in the greenhouse. By chance?
No, because they're wild trees.
What need wild trees?
I don't know. Can they grow in there? Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to try it. I already have one wild tree grown, so it's not gonna hurt.
Mm-hmm. I found another oak
Right, I didn't have any. Oh, I have cheese.
in there.
Oh, that's right. Why are you fishing there, Rose?
Cause I took a quest, like a bulletin board one to catch 2 smallmouth bass.
You still need the 20 lake fish as well.
Yep. I'm going up to the lake now.
Yeah, we got plenty of time on that.
Oh. For 100 gold. No, I'm not bothering with that one.
I just wanted the ticket.
Oh, you're getting a ticket? I don't see
Mhm.
a ticket on mine, so I get it, yeah.
I think this is the first bulletin board quest I've accepted, so.
Oh, your
why,
smallmouth bass, yeah.
Where was I going again? Oh, yeah.
No, the bulletin board is only 100, but this community board's different.
Yeah.
Why was the red chest moved?
Maybe somebody hit it.
It was all the way down, though. That was weird. Wait. I just put it next to the thing again.
Cool.
Oh, I still have rewards, and what? I took the reward, but it vanished?
It
Is
should
it
have
like an
went to.
information book thingy?
Oh.
Is your pocket full?
No.
What was the
It
reward?
just, it went poof.
If it's a brown book and you held it over your head and rated it, then it
I
was a
didn't
skill
know.
book.
It's the one from the museum. I wanted to put it in my inventory. And it just went poof.
I don't know. Aye. Sixer. How goes it? Goes it?
I'm so confused.
Oh, guys, have you gone to the little machine in Willie's shop?
No.
Oh, yeah,
So-
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
There's a little machine in Willie's shop to the right
Uh-huh.
that gives you fun things.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've been in there. I haven't done anything with it, though.
He's the
I didn't know that.
guy.
Yeah. It's new.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh, we're forgetting the crab pots.
We don't need anything from them.
Oh.
Why? The only thing I need for the fish tank is the sandfish from the desert.
Yeah, I forgot to open the door last night and didn't feed them. Poor animals.
Oh,
Oh no.
They're still happy though, so we're okay. They were like, I had to go pick up things today, so I didn't get to milk them in time and all that. Let's see how fast I can milk them before they fall asleep on me.
Milk faster.
Right? It's like they'll go into the barn at a certain time normally, but I think if you milk them before I think 7, you can still milk them. They're not quite asleep yet.
Hey, Cleo. Sorry.
You're good.
She's playing with the cat bed.
Let's see.
Oh shit, we have enough to do in the vault now.
Oh. But I think we're saving money for the deluxe barn things, right?
Well, we don't have enough wood.
Yeah, we don't have enough wood this time of year. And so good,
Well,
most will have some.
I added like 200 now, so we might make one.
Oh, we might then.
Yeah.
We might actually have enough.
So
It's
I'm
only
cutting all the
10,000
pink
for
and
it, right?
then
Or is it 20?
It's
20 or
25,000 and 300 stone and 550 wood. And me and Momo both been working on wood, so.
Okay.
I'm cutting the pine trees near the river, so that's.
Are we okay if I do the 5,000 and the 2,500 bundles then? They're the smaller ones.
As long as you leave me $25,000, we're fine.
Oh yeah, you'll be fine.
Fuck
Do we
you.
need to save fish for anything? Oh,
Just
a
keep
bream?
one of each, maybe.
Dream Frenzy?
I'm gonna go ahead and do the 10,000 one too. So that just leaves the 25,000. Which we
Okay,
can
and
do.
I only need 100 wood, so.
100? Wait,
That's all
what?
she needs left.
I've got everything else I need, so yeah.
Oh, then go look in the wood chest. That's where it at.
Well, that's where I collected it from, so.
Oh, I got 43 right now, so we might find a couple more trees.
Yeah, I'll have to work on getting
I'm going
100.
to bed so that I can go feed the cats, but I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. When do we repair the bridge towards the mining area? If you know what I mean.
Craft room, sword foraging, so we just need the 2 winter
Turtle got
that
it.
we're missing, and the desert one, or the oak resin, which I think is why Mono's tapped the oak ones, so we can get the oak resin.
Yeah, I need the oak resin for all the kegs and everything. And for the community center, we need one. Yeah.
Okay.
If y'all haven't already put one in there.
Okay, so here's 43 more mono.
Okay.
And then
before you guys freak out about the chocolate cake and the thing, it's because I got it as a reward for doing the thingies.
Why would we freak out about chocolate cake? It's delicious.
I don't know. Because it could be food.
Did you get that?
I did. It was a reward.
It's a reward,
for,
yeah.
The bundle.
Ooh.
Oh, do you see your friends, Brooke? Your invisible friends.
Hi, Holla! Welcome to the stream.
There's
I hope you're doing awesome.
in front of the house now. Hungry, need fish. We need periwinkles, 5 periwinkles, and a smoked tuna for the raccoon.
Aww.
Well, we can't make smoked tuna right now.
Well,
because we need a smoker.
We have to save all the periwinkle we can.
And we don't have any tuna because tuna is a summer fish.
He's so cute! I love him.
I know, right?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, so cute! Yeah, 5 periwinkle, 1 smoked tuna. So cute. Look at that.
There's trees here. You can make it, Mono.
It's time to go to bed.
Shit.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm at 487, so that's what I was doing down there, was getting a few trees.
I have 41 in my inventory right now. I'll give it to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Give it to her one at a time.
No. Yeah.
Rose, the raccoon is living in the house.
Oh, yay!
So cute. And he needs fish and He needs the periwinkles, so if you find periwinkles, don't sell them.
Oh,
Posture
yeah, we need to
check.
put the crab pots in the river then.
Drink water.
Oh, they're in the ocean. Can't we get the periwinkle there too?
Perry, I don't think
I
we
need
can get
more water.
periwinkles in the ocean.
What?
Oh
What is
god,
I think
what's
you can only
happening?
get them in fresh water.
Oh?
Berries!
Oh, it's like
The
Momo has
fairy.
gone to bed. What? It's gonna do stuff to your garden.
What is the fairy doing?
Ooh.
The fairy is magical.
They're stealing our crops.
No,
Could
she
you
does
imagine?
good things.
Fairies would, for sure.
She does
Real
good
fairies.
things, not bad things.
Oh. Pumpkins are done.
Yep. I
Oh,
love
I
that
can
it
make the
glitched and showed it.
loom.
Ooh.
Self-care time? Yeah. I'm out of water now. I have to
Your water.
I can't.
Let's
day
go
started.
downtown.
And Momo has wood for me.
The spirits are in good humor, guys.
Oh my
Yes. Go
god.
process all
fucking
those
go.
things.
Oh, where are the geodes? Oh, they're in here? I want to do
Yeah.
it.
I still have to put it in.
I'll take half if you want to take half, or should I just
Okay.
take all of them?
You can take all of them. I got
There you
mystery
go.
boxes though.
Alright.
I want to do the mystery boxes as well.
I'm gonna go to the mines and blow shit up.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna go see Robin. Oh, look, more oak trees. They're starting to sprout. Yay. I can tap more of them soon. Stretch break? Yes, I do need a stretch break. My back is hurting.
I saw Mono run over to the side and I thought it was my character and I freaked out because I'm like, why didn't I go through to the next scene?
Yeah, I did too. I freaked out too. I was like, what? Is it broke?
Why did she have to do the ones that are actually near the sprinkler fucking fairy?
I know.
Those are the ones that are least of her problems, you know? They just grow and they get watered automatically and she's like, let me help you! Like,
Alright. But usually they're like gold crops and grow automatically. They're usually better crops.
Hey, don't forget about our barn.
there-
Do you have
there's-
enough for the barn yet?
That's why I'm here waiting for her to open.
Oh, okay.
It's not 9 o'clock yet. She won't let me in. I tried.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, that's why
Neither
I'm
will
fishing
Clint.
over by Clint's, because just killing time.
We have a maple syrup.
No, I don't need it, though.
Why? Wait.
Well, you can use it for
Mono-
crafting, so hang on to it.
Mhm.
You can craft more honey
I'm
things.
putting it in the tree chest.
And once we get the secret note for the bear in the woods.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Nope. I don't know that shit.
Yeah.
I'm
Secret.
I'm a Stardew virgin, I suppose.
Alright, I got rice pudding, coffee, and quality fertilizer.
Stone
Heyo.
wood. Oh, it's 550 wood. Dang it. I'm like,
I'll get more.
I got 528.
Y'all,
I'll
I'm
come
sorry
back
for the
this
amount
far.
of money I'm going to be spending on geodes.
It's okay, as
Well,
long as there's
we'll still have
25,000
money
left.
for the barn, so it'll
Mono,
be
I'm
okay.
getting more for you. I have
Okay.
20 now already.
Okay, so as soon as you get to 32, I have enough.
Okay, I'm going down to the forest because there was a couple of tree left.
Okay. And then if you come up to the farm, and then I'll
Yeah, we'll switch
get it from you. Yeah, because I'm gonna go take care of the animals while you do your thing, because I haven't done that yet.
I'm gonna do my lake fishing so we can get that.
Yay!
Oh, what? You said you need 20. Wait, I have 40.
32. Yes.
Okay, coming back.
No,
I get more wood footage from the trees because I got proficiency.
Yeah. Sometimes you get like, I think
20 wood
Oh,
per
dang.
tree or something. 21.
I was getting like 17. I thought that was a lot.
Okay, if we need a lot of wood, let me know. Okay. You need a chest?
Yeah, you can put it in the wood chest.
Yeah, it's in there. I said it's in the chest.
Oh, okay.
I did weird accent. It's okay.
I don't understand.
I speak
English.
Dutch, but that won't help
No,
you
no.
either.
No, it won't. I experienced that this week.
Wait, did I actually reply to that?
I don't remember.
Whoa, shit.
I still got
Working to what?
4. I just didn't have enough
Whoa.
space in my backpack.
Holy cow. Demon.
But
Yeah, I gotta go.
Lende is actually kind of a thing. It's a band as well. It's a book for people who are grieving, I suppose.
What is?
The Bende van Ellende, the thing you sent me.
Oh, is it the Grand Misery or whatever it was called?
Nah, I know. It's kind of like it's kind of what we. It's like a. It's also wait. Can't talk. It's like a band, but it's also a thing people say when, for example, if we had a girls' night and we all have a hangover the next morning, we would say the Bende van Ellende because we would all be so miserable the next day. But we would still be a gang together, be like, yeah, that's us. Look at us.
Yeah, I think they accidentally added me into their group was the problem.
Oh.
So they booted me today. But
They bullied you?
no, they booted me from the group today. And they were like, sorry. It's like I tried to read it. I got added to this Dutch group on Snapchat. And I was trying to translate. Because I'm friends with this one lady that's Dutch. And
That isn't Momo.
Yeah.
Huh? No?
That isn't Momo.
Yeah, that isn't Momo. I was gonna say, it's not Momo.
Hi there.
Hi. So in 3 days, three or 2 days, we can go buy a rabbit.
Woo.
And then after that, we can go get, what is the other animal in the barn that we get? I don't know. I don't remember. Not cow, not goat. Oh, sheep.
Sheep and pigs.
Sheep. The sheep
Wait,
and the
no,
pigs.
shit, we need more money for you tomorrow. Or did you already buy the barn?
I bought it.
You did it, right?
We're good.
We can actually buy the fish smoker. It's 10K.
Cool.
Should we do it?
Shit. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Then we can make the raccoon happy and open his shop.
And we just got 1,500 for the biome, just so you guys know. So make sure you claim that. You're welcome. And I'll
1,500 what?
I caught you.
Oh yeah, I did that.
You can change the bobbers?
Yeah. Why do you think I have a cat?
I thought you had like a special thing you got. I have a Scully.
Oh, and you get your prize ticket from the community board too, so make sure you grab that too.
Oh, going.
No. No, I don't want to eat the cheese. I want the...
Oh, Star Drop Tea. What? That's
What?
the purple
What?
drink. A very special gift that would delight anyone.
I think I've heard of that.
So is it
It's
like...
not for us.
You can't drink it for energy.
I got it too.
Alright, where's Abigail?
Did you drink it?
No, you can't. It's a gift for...
Really?
Uh-huh. Anyone know where Abigail is?
No.
She's not in her house.
Okay.
I was just in there.
This is like cow manufacturing. I just let them get in line because they're trying to all go in the barn and I milk them all. It was crazy. I milked like 3 in a row as they piled up.
I wonder if they're
I think so.
exams. She must be at Sebastian's then.
Rude.
No.
I don't want to catch a largemouth bass.
Oh yeah, I need to do that. I picked it up.
Oh, I found her.
There she is. I got a. Oh, the color is so beautiful, like an amethyst. Thanks. Now I have a heart with her. Close enough.
I just gave her a quartz and she said, "How did you know I was hungry? Delicious."
Yeah, she
Classic.
eats them.
She eats quartz.
Yeah.
Yup. She's
Okay.
special.
You're special.
I think it was like originally like a myth type in the game, and then it just became a thing, and he left it because it was so
Yeah,
funny.
it's canon now.
Oh, the bookseller's here. Did you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can't
But
afford
they're
them.
expensive.
Yep.
Thanks for my daily cheese,
Cheese.
Mono.
You're
I
welcome.
saw it.
Your daily
Momo
cheese womp.
hasn't taken her cheeseberry cheese yet, so she doesn't get it anymore.
don't
I
eat it
have
a
the
lot.
cheese in my pocket. It's my pocket cheese.
Yeah.
I have some in my pocket.
I figured she needs it a lot because of gardening, but
I forget that I played with someone who didn't let me eat things. So
Oh.
Rude.
Then how the
If-
hell did you do anything?
well, just use the energy you have and leave.
no.
I know.
What the hell?
It was
So
really
I mean, I understand like
It's
year
my-
one, like not eating and everything, but
Mhm.
looks so cool in here.
Why is
You
it
didn't
so
plant any
cool?
trees in here yet?
They're up here. I only have grapefruit trees. I think it was 2 apricot and a peach or orange or something like that.
Mm.
Because they were what we got in the prize thing.
Nice.
Oops.
So do we need a
Are you
chest
targeting
up there near the
me?
greenhouse
I
with a
guess so.
watering kettle in it?
Possibly, but it's okay because for the most part, like I come down here, water these guys, and then go up there and water.
Okay.
I gotta put my pocket cheese in my chest.
In your chest pocket.
Yep.
Oh, I got another
usually-
dinosaur egg.
Nice.
Fuck
Yay!
yes.
Didn't know you could
So I
fish
can
them
donate
up.
that one since we have one now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll donate that tomorrow.
Yeah, because that little baby guy will start laying his own soon.
Mm.
No, come on. There we go.
Trying to remember. Oh, Momo, did you look into upgrading the watering can and how much it costs?
No, but I will.
You should, because we have 16 iron bars, and I know it takes 5. If it's already copper, you just need to come grab 5 of these iron bars
Try
and take it.
5,000.
I thought we were waiting for like the Passover into winter.
Mm-hmm.
We can, but it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because there's still crops for winter too.
Yeah, but we
Right,
only
that's
have
true.
so many.
We
seeds
won't
to
have
plant,
as
so
many.
it's not
We
a
won't
big
have
deal.
as many. Yeah.
Because that's a foraged seed.
Yeah, we won't have as many because we'll just have to all be like foraging the heck to try to find them.
Okay, so we need to save 5,000 and 5 iron
Yep.
bars.
Yeah,
So we need
5,000
a
and 5
total of
iron
30
bars.
grand in our bank account.
It's 5 in a straight line.
Yep.
So and the
30.
next one, the gold is 3x3.
Mm-hmm.
30 grand. I'm gonna get water while we.
Yeah, because
Wait.
I need 25 grand for the vault so we can get the bus.
Oh yeah.
I need to go home. Going home.
Bedtime, ladies.
I'm coming. Who planted trees on the path? That
Probably
is
Mono.
dangerous work. I ran right into it. Oh, she's gone. She's probably laughing in the kitchen right now. I forgot to water the plants. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We only have a handful of days left into going into winter, so.
Is Mono in the bed yet? Oh, she is.
Yeah,
Rose is in
I
bed.
think it's Rose that's not sleeping.
Oh yeah, I'm not sorry. I'm about to sell a fish and then I will be.
Okay.
Pushing it.
I'm good.
Ooh, I leveled up.
Ooh.
Oh. No, we just got an achievement. Okay. Well,
Huh?
we just made 14 grand.
Yeah. Not grand. 14K.
That's the same thing.
It's the same. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait. I was confused with ton. Like grand is 1,000. Oh. We don't
Yeah.
really use that one a lot here.
No, that's fair.
It's American thing. I think English, American. I don't know.
It's American for sure.
Okay. All right, because K is from like kilo and whatnot. Well, that's time to take a pee break. Hey, Mon. Hey, Mono, you're special. See you in a second.
And you're in trouble. Troublemaker.
Hey, at least you know if she was pooping, you'd scare the shit out of her.
Did she step away now?
Huh?
No. Wait till I come back to step away. Alright, I'm gonna go adjust my hair. It's too cold.
To be honest, I should probably make a potty break too.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it too.
So that would be the stretch break that Momo.
Yeah, that's what I was doing on stretch break.
I got pee.
See. Hi. I have baby bell cheese too. Baby bell cheese. No, Bunny Kate, no one had caught it. It's Turtle, you didn't catch the Pokemons? I didn't try either. I'm terrible. I missed it. That's a lot of money. We made a lot of money on this day. Huh? Let's see. You're special.
Oh. Mono's
Correct.
so deep in thought, she's still looking down.
Yup. I'm like, got chill bumps though.
You got what?
Chill bumps.
Chill. Oh,
Goosebumps?
goosebumps. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Like I wasn't very far, so. Okay. Come here, Brooke. Come here, baby.
Chicken skin. We actually call it. We also have one. It's a different one. We have multiple words for it, but one of them is mierendietjes, which is like ant tits.
Chicken skins.
Yeah, tits. Oh my god.
Tits.
What are chicken skins?
It's the same as the one you said
Goosebumps.
earlier. Chill spots. Chill skin. What's the other one?
I think.
Kippenvel. Yeah, kippenvel. That's chicken skin.
Okay. I think we're ready.
Yep.
Did you know mierendietjes?
Hmm?
No. I'm wondering if 6 knows the meter teaches.
Why am I so cold?
Homesteader.
Dang!
Hey, look,
250k
there's the
achievement?
25 grand.
Yo. Oh, wow. Good morning, dear.
Fortune teller.
Oh, Mono, big you.
Neutral.
Lovely walk here. Haven't seen this old farm in a long
Tomorrow
time.
is Spirit's Eve.
Yeah.
Brought you a little something. A gift from one of the gardener to another. What did she bring me?
Oh.
Oh, a flower pot.
Evelyn.
Bullhead frenzy has begun in the mountains.
Mm.
That's fun.
You can use them to grow crops of any season indoors.
Okay. Oh, it's the pots.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. Thank
Very
you,
easy to make. I got it in an old magazine clipping with instructions. Craft the garden pot. George is grumpy if he doesn't get it.
Smoker, but where is it? Oh, it's a recipe, right? So
What do you need for it?
It wasn't cheap. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'm not sure how it looks yet, so scrolling. What does it look like? Oh, 1 seed jelly, 1 river jelly, 1 cave jelly, and 10 hardwood. I'm guessing we ate all the jelly.
I have actually
We've been-
one river. I have a river jelly in my
Cool.
backpack.
I have
Did you
some
grab
jelly
your-
in my box too.
Yeah.
Did you grab your 5 gold, your 5
will.
iron bars?
The iron? No.
Yeah. Somebody ready to take care of the chickens for me today? That's so sweet.
I
Thank you.
said hi. I'll let you do the mayo and stuff.
Oh, it looked like you were already doing it. I'll just let you do it.
Well, I
Oh,
just took out
okay.
the mayo. I put everything
Where-
into the chest.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, we were gonna put our void egg in there.
Okay, I'll leave one open then.
We're gonna do our void egg.
Do we still have one void egg?
Oh yeah, we finally put it in the
top
hatchery.
Put it in the top one. I'll leave that one open.
Let's see.
What? Why?
For the void egg. Oh, Mona's putting the void egg in the incubator.
The hatchery.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
We don't put anything in the preserve drawers for the animal products.
I mean, you could make pickled eggs or something.
I don't think you can.
Maybe. Have you tried?
Oh, you can turn it into a jar thing. Remember void mayonnaise? We need it for another quest.
Yeah, but once we get our void chicken, we'll get more void eggs. So.
Yeah.
Sea jelly. Wait. So what do I have now?
What do you
I've
need?
got some river jelly.
You have the.
Y'all
river.
go spend money before I do,
already
because
have river and
when
sea.
I do, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
buying farm animals. I'm gonna be buying that rabbit and everything.
So the only thing I need is cave jelly.
I'm
Cave
in the
jelly?
mines right now. I'll fish you some.
All right, let me go. I'm gonna help. I have nothing else to do before.
The festival.
Before winter and the festival.
But that's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
I did nothing.
I heard a
Got
tree
an
fall in the
oak
woods.
resin.
Huh?
We got an oak resin. I'll take it to
Yay!
the community center once I'm done fishing.
Noise.
That means we should have some more soon too, because I put up a couple of them at the same time.
Wait,
Now,
we
which
can
one was
use-
that?
we can use
Which
the
location?
gardening
Was that by the
thing
mine?
outside as well?
Yeah.
Should we though?
What, Momo?
The gardening thing we got from Evelyn?
You can use it indoors and outdoors. You can put it in your house and grow veggies.
Not what I
It's so you can, like, if you missed an item on the community
Mhm.
center that was seasonal, you could grow it in your house and water it.
Hey,
Mhm.
nice. That's cool.
That's like the main purpose of it. Is for like if you missed an item.
Sorry, I'm actually catching fish here, and I don't want to catch fish.
But we have to be able to buy the seeds too. Like, like I would grow hops in mine right now just to make Pam not thirsty anymore. But I don't know if I can get hop seeds, so I'm out of luck. So for now, every time that keg gets empty, we can put blackberries in it to make wine for now.
I got lazy with the watering because of the other stuff.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh my god,
As
stop
long as we
fishing
get
out
the one in
Coca-Cola.
the
Nick Duffy! Thank you for the 5-stream walk street. Barrow
The
seed
one in
has
the-
been
in
caught by
the
Kimono and Turtle.
greenhouse.
You did those, right?
I haven't
I didn't.
watered them this. No. 2016-100. Okay.
Yeah, and I needed. What did I need? No, I got it already. I don't know.
I do need to still do the thing.
Let's see. Oh, the watering can. That's the one. Oh yeah. Can I make it? No, I'm watering things. Okay, well. We'll make it then.
Yeah.
That's okay. We can do it tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but on the last day.
Oh shit!
So...
Then I need to do it. Oh, I'm not gonna make it now if I want. Okay. Oh wait, I can.
Okay.
There's a tram.
It's right next to him.
Wait, I need. What do I need? Iron.
What did
Iron bars.
we?
Yep.
Grabbing them all.
Yeah,
Come back
the
later.
bridge repair. The bridge will be repaired as soon as y'all put in that oak resin, right?
Yep. I
You
know.
just put it in.
Oh,
And
don't we
he'll-
need a crocus and a winter yam though?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
for...
Winter. Okay.
Yeah.
The exotic forging bundle will be complete.
Yeah,
And then
made
then
it.
we only
We
need.
just find a crocus and a yam and we'll be good.
Yeah, and then we'll have that bridge repaired, and then we can mine like crazy people in there too.
Rain, I made it.
Yay!
Just in time. Thank you.
I am having the worst time finding this cave jelly.
I know. I'm catching everything but a cave jelly.
I'm just catching trash.
I haven't caught a lot of trash. I've caught some ghost fish and some stonefish though. And some algae.
I've got like 7 Joja Colas, so I'll be good on Sam for a while.
Oh.
Which one are you at?
I'm on 100.
Okay.
I have no clue what this is, but I'll put it here. We got a new reward. A skeletal tail. Oh, that's the thing.
No.
Oh look, I got more bait. That's helpful. Oh, it was out of bait.
Maybe that's why I can't catch any, because I'm not skilled enough in fishing yet. I don't know.
I don't
My
think
bear statue
so.
near the
Let's see.
museum.
All right. I'm giving up. I'm going to the bar to hit on Sam.
Sam?
Well, someone stole Sebastian, so I gotta settle.
And I have to settle with Abigail, so it's fine. We each get one person from the band.
It's all right. We're married in my other game.
At least I can do is have a husband in a game.
I haven't even picked one yet. I'm in trouble.
When you say Sam, I think every time that you're saying Alex.
Oh,
That's
no.
why I go, what?
Never.
Exactly. I get so
I don't
shocked
hate
every
myself
time.
like that.
I make the same mistake every time.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
what? Sam? Oh, that's funny. Did you ever finish with Sebastian yet?
What's that doing?
Rose?
Huh? What do you mean?
Ever match with Sebastian yet?
Oh yeah, we're married in my two of my
Oh,
games.
I've never.
Yeah.
So this is my first really committed Stardew game. I was like, okay, this time I'm
I always say that I'm gonna do Elliot, and then I always end up marrying Sebastian instead.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Maybe that's who I should go after.
Elliot?
So, yeah.
I've
Would
never
you
like
say?
fully romanced him. I've married Sebastian, Shane, and Sam.
Mm-hmm. I've only ever married Emily and then like other players. So I never had a chance to marry anybody else.
Oh, did anyone go to the beach today?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Oh no,
No.
you
Where are we?
put the traps in the river. You said, Rose, right?
Oh yeah, we do.
Maybe
Um,
tomorrow. Oh no, tomorrow.
Where do we put the jelly when we have it? I don't have cave jelly. I just have river jelly. But oh, actually, I'm gonna. You don't need the river jelly.
Oh, it's not ready.
You can eat it if you're fishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's usually what Rain does as well, and I did it too because you get like a bonus.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the river
sea
jelly
jelly
has
is
the
the
max
best because
energy.
it gives you a +1, and then river jelly gives you the
Max
energy.
energy.
Okay.
I really
Which
should
is better for me
like
for the mines.
start
We
carrying
should
around
get
my
some
fishing pole and doing something.
That's so many seeds in the greenhouse.
Told you I
What
was
are they
feeling it.
actually? What kind of
It's
seeds
just
are
mixed
they?
seeds and mixed flower seeds with
Why?
2 coffee ones. That's what we
Why?
had.
We have actual normal products like squash.
Right, but those ones were the ones that weren't gonna reproduce. I figured get those out of the way.
Squash
'Cause we don't-
reproduces, right?
Oh yeah, she's
Yeah,
getting rid of the
squash,
ones that don't
broccoli.
regrow.
Uh-huh.
Because then you could do like broccoli and squash and all that, and they'll be there forever.
Yeah, because I like to do all the recurring ones in the greenhouse.
Same.
But since we're going into winter, it's better to have all these ones that we don't regrow right now.
Confused.
And then
we
as
can
soon
just
as
sell
they're out of
whatever.
the
She just wants to get rid of them. Because they'll be used up. One used item she's just getting rid of.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then she's going to put the other regrowing crops after.
And there's 2 coffee things in there, so we can hopefully get more coffee.
Yeah, that'd be
Yay.
nice.
Fast as fuck, boy.
I still haven't gotten a cave jelly.
Yeah, I'm gonna try again tomorrow.
I'm picking up the sea things. I forgot the name for a second. The crab pots. So we can put them near our house so we can get periwinkles.
That's fine. I'm gonna go put those okras in the community chest. Or community thingy. And then I can go home.
Yeah.
And hopefully sell my fish. Make some more money. And then go back and do the vault. Get our
I need to go. So would it work at our farm river? For the periwinkles?
We don't have a river at the farm, right? Or do we?
We do have a river.
Yeah, fresh water. Yeah, as long as it's fresh water, it should work. We might get more trash on our farm though, instead of.
No, you actually do get because I did it on my own build, and you do get like the sea lobster thing.
Okay. Yeah, if it'll work, go for it.
Oh shit, we also need an oak resin for the magic bundle.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
We need it
Also
for
have to
magic.
Make it. You stupid Junimo, get out of my way.
There's a Junimo. Oh, not on the farm.
I'm not gonna make it.
You know it's bedtime, Mono.
No! Yeah, I'm not making it.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in town.
I'm cutting down trees because I didn't realize what time it was.
Oh no.
They should make an alarm. Yeah.
Beep, 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 yeah.
Maybe we should
I mean, they do say you do get the zzz thing. and
Yeah,
you're
That's
getting
a pretty
not enough. It's like, oh
fish.
yeah, we'll get there.
That's a pretty
Maybe I should do
fish.
this.
Ah, yeah.
Like,
But,
Next
like,
time
we
y'all
all
get
have
one
to
of
be
those
our one.
pretty fish, we should save it for fish tank. Those
aquarium.
pretty purple ones.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Alright, well. I didn't lose anything. That's good.
What's happening?
Gunther!
Oh, who's that? What's a Gunther?
He's the museum curator.
Oh right. Oh, I skipped it. What did he say?
I almost forgot. I have a gift for you. It's an old key. Oh, it's been
Oh,
sealed in
time
the
for
museum
that.
vault.
Oh,
What?
oh,
We get the key to the sewers.
Really?
my
Yeah.
Krobus!
Save all that boy mayonnaise.
And you can't go to town.
Oh, because it's a festival? That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Dang,
Do we
festivals.
have the thing that goes into the crab pots?
The
Bait?
guts?
Bait?
Yeah, bait.
Rain hasn't used it all. Maybe.
I have 5 deluxe bait. That's it.
There's no bait in the box up there?
Or bug meat.
Or in the ocean box? Bug meat? Or the cave box? There might be some in the cave, in the
I'll go check.
the black one.
There's 2 bug meat.
Oh, and I need 5 or I need 1? I actually have 2 bait left in here, so that's
Here.
Oh, let me watch the TV.
Kimona, hi friend. Happy Sunday to you, dear. Happy Sunday to you too, Afro. I hope you're doing awesome. Sorry if I'm slow to respond, guys. If I get so focused on this game, if you guys aren't constantly talking to me, then I lose focus. Why does the goat have no milk? Give me milk already. Oh. Just like the wrong time of year, or they just don't feel like it. Goats are grumpy. They don't, you know. They don't give you milk every time.
Oh yeah, it's every other day.
Mm-hmm. It's like if it's raining. If it's raining, we won't. Just finicky. So you can recycle it into goods.
Well, no, I'm trying to catch the cave jelly, and I'm just catching trash instead.
I keep catching fish.
Dang fish.
Wait a
I
minute.
don't even have any bait.
Who put that crud in there? Nobody. My inventory. I'm looking at my own inventory like a silly goose.
Why can't I reach it?
Mad click.
No.
Are you on 100 again, Ruth?
I was on 100. I don't know if you can find it on every floor. And that's
20,
where I
60,
found...
and 100.
Okay, where are you?
I'm on 60 right now.
I'll try 20.
I couldn't find any on 20 when I was up there yesterday, but...
I couldn't find any on 100, so that's where I found it in my own game, but... The spirits are perturbed today, so...
How are you doing, Afro? I hope you're doing good.
Well, daily luck doesn't have an effect on it.
Oh, okay.
Rain.
The little tiny dad one?
Hmm?
Weird.
No, I was gonna say I'll put the bait in there, but I'll just put it in the sea chest near the farm. Because the crab pots are close to that. So you
Can't see what I'm doing.
Use it for the... we need
Journal. Clobberus. How do you say that word? Clob.
Which one?
Pokemon.
I don't. Oh.
Okay, so it is actually best to try and catch it at 100 because the 100 only has so many. There's only 3 things you can catch on 100.
Oh, that's why I'm getting all the trash then.
Mhm.
Oh, Clobbopus. Probably.
But it's anything with the training pole.
Oh, I still have the training pole. That's why.
I have a request for the greenhouse once we can grow stuff, and if we get those seeds, the hops, so we
Raina,
can
you
get
said you
Pam
can't.
taken care of.
Yeah,
Which
the
one?
training rod is the bamboo one, or like your green one is the training rod.
Oh, okay. I have a bamboo pole.
Yeah, the bamboo pole's fine.
Okay.
Guys, I cannot water the crops because I don't have a watering can.
What?
There should be an extra one in those boxes, right?
It's not.
Oh.
Look.
The extra one's gone too? Mine? Because I always leave mine in there.
Yeah, there's no extra one. Wait, I have it.
I was gonna say, I definitely don't have it. But let's get down from there.
I'm sorry.
So the extra one and the good one are gone?
The good one is gone. Because I upgraded it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, because it's at the thing.
It's like, if anything, mine's in the chests inside my house.
Right.
Where I keep all my tools.
Keep it inside?
We got it, Turtle, we
I
got
do
it.
have a chest inside, yes.
No, I mean, keep the tools inside.
Yeah.
Why?
So I don't always need all my tools.
But that way she knows where
why
they
is it
are.
inside? That's why.
Woody's secret? Ooh.
Because they're not upgraded?
What the fuck is this? Woody's
No.
secret.
Hey.
It feels. Oh, never
Felled
mind.
trees have 5% chance to yield double the wood.
Feels like an
Ooh.
extra step to do. Like if you want to exchange them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have to go inside first.
Normally when I
Learn
leave
a
the
new
farm, I have a
power.
plan and I don't take what I don't need. Where's the paddles? Motherfucker.
I was at a convention yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. And there was like a thing you would have loved. Yeah, right. It said.
Oh, thanks.
What was it again? I wrote it down because I found it so funny.
That was not my intention, Rose. I was trying to eat it myself.
Here, I'll move away from you so it doesn't happen again.
Okay, you ready? You
Here,
ready?
wait, let me give it to you. Let me give it back to you.
Okay.
No, it's okay. You can keep it.
It's not smut. It's literature.
Oh
Yes.
no.
Fuck yes. I love that.
I was laughing so hard.
Oh no.
I wish I could wear that to
Wait,
work, but I can't.
Mono, was this this is not a PG stream, is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I work at a preschool, so.
You're fun.
I work with the
Oh,
public. It
good.
works very well.
During the day for you, I kind of worked in my head.
Well,
If this was a
right now I
PG
work at a
stream for
preschool.
Mono.
We'll see how long.
You're fine.
Okay, thank God.
It's never PG.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Hey!
Oh my god, yes. Finally.
What?
I got the jelly. I got the goods.
Yeah, jelly girl.
Where do you want me to put
Why
them?
didn't you plant the starfruit seeds?
Because I wanted to get rid of the other shit. And we don't have a seed maker, so I can't make any more seeds out of the starfruit if we get multiples.
Momo, where do you want me to put the cave jelly?
You can put it in the blue chest in my house if you want.
This
or
one?
You can give it to me. Yeah.
Oh, here, yeah, let me just do that.
I was gonna say it's just a single jelly. What's the buff on that?
Let me check.
What buff does it give you?
It's +1 luck.
Oh.
Okay.
That's
Fish smoker made.
Yay! Now we just need
I'll
a
put it
salmon, right?
Well, here, near the fish chest, I suppose. We need tuna?
Oh, it was
right?
tuna. Yeah.
I don't think we have tuna.
No,
Oh.
probably not.
Can you get tuna before after 7 p.m.? I don't think you can.
In fall?
Yeah.
I thought it was the
No,
summer.
salmon is fall, tuna's summer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is? Oh, well.
So we'll need to
Except
keep an eye out on the traveling cart.
Ginger Island is fall, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a hot
Big
second.
fish in here. Requires 1 coal. Fuck.
Don't go in there yet.
Oh.
Back out.
Okay.
Back
Got a
out.
couple
Okay.
more hours
Now you
till-
can get your coal.
Thank you. I'll just take some. Just a couple. I'll put them in my
selling
other chest.
these algae.
Oh my
Slimes?
God.
Don't sell the slimes.
Yeah, I've been putting them in the red chest up top with the recyclables.
Yeah, and don't sell all the algae because some of them are used in recipes.
The skeleton
It was
shouldn't
an
fart.
excess, and I can definitely get way more. So.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Like usually, if I'm gonna sell something, I'll sell like, I don't sell it all.
Was the greenhouse watered?
Oh no, was it?
No. Momo.
It looks watered.
Oh no.
No, it's not.
Rain.
What?
Oh.
It's dark for me.
Yeah, because it's inside.
Dark outside.
I thought that meant it was watered.
No.
The last time it wasn't watered either. Okay, well.
Oh.
I thought, somebody already did it because I'm not familiar with the greenhouse. It's just tilled soil. I thought it was water.
Yeah, and that other watering can that we've been using is the one that I had originally. So.
Yeah, I see the difference now.
Oh right, I forgot the.
Oh shit.
Oh no. What do we do at that festival? I forget. We just run around and.
Pumpkin.
Okay, so we don't have to bring anything.
Nah.
How long do I have?
It's now.
Not long.
Okay, I'll come. Too bad for you. I did.
We'll be okay if we don't water them. We'll be okay.
I did 1 row, so.
That's fine.
Ooh, it's already done. The smoke thing.
Mm-hmm.
Quick.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Oh, fuck you with coal. It's
it
so
requires
cute.
coal
It
for it.
leaves like a little smoky thing when you're. Where do I go, by the way?
Just
The
go
town
straight.
Square.
Yeah.
Oh, I
just
see
go
your
straight.
legs. I see the legs.
Yeah.
The tree.
Behind the bush. See the purple and blue.
Bush people.
Oh, it would help if I hit the right buttons.
Oh, this is the maze one. Amazing.
Oh yes, the jack-o'-lantern recipe.
Yeah. I'm gonna follow whoever goes into the maze first and just follow them.
The rare crow.
We always want the rare crow. I don't care.
But did you get it or? Should I get it?
Yeah.
Meow. Go get the golden pumpkin.
You guys are not talking to everybody?
What?
Yeah.
No, we're going off to the golden pumpkin first. And I've already talked to everybody, so.
Yeah, I just do it for friendship levels. Because it's easy when they're all together like this.
Does it count as friendship levels when you talk to them?
I thought
Like you had to give them stuff.
Golden
Maybe.
pumpkin, and hey, guess what?
I
You
didn't
don't have to
find it
walk
yet.
all the way back, Rose. Come back.
Oh right, I forgot.
Where's it at now? Oh, the exit. I see it now. Oh my god!
That's cute.
Secret shortcut back. That's so cute, Snappy! What? Where? Who? I need some chicken tenders also? I forgot they added that. That's so cool.
Hooters. Do Am I forgetting anything?
Skeletons.
Did you get your golden pumpkin?
No, I'm still I'm at the graveyard now. Where do I go? Oh, found it.
Okay.
They made it sneakier, like with the.
Yeah, follow the red arrow out though. Don't go the old way out.
Mhm.
Snappy! Thank you so much for gifting a shot to Shocky. Thank you.
What are you doing there, Rain?
I
Watching
appreciate
you.
it.
What can you do there? Because I forgot to go
Nothing.
there. Okay. I love the Baba
Thank you
Yaga.
so much. Thank you, Snappy. I hope you're doing well.
Secret shortcut.
Let's see. There's a jack-o'-lantern and a rare crow. You guys already got the rare crow.
I got the rare crow, yeah.
Yep.
Yes, we're good. I don't need anything in there.
Yeah. I didn't care about the rest
But
of the
hi,
exhibit
Snappy.
next time.
Welcome to the stream. I gotta make sure it's on.
I usually
There's a
just
crow
sell
on
my
my porch.
pumpkin. Is that cool?
Yeah, you can do whatever you
Yeah, might
want.
as well. Gives us money, right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we needed to save them for anything or not. I couldn't remember.
There's never anything you can ever use them for, so
No, because like if you put it outside,
it's
it
just up
rots.
to you. Oh, does
Otherwise,
it?
just sits in your inventory. Yeah. At the end of the season, it rots.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's sad.
You
Yeah,
display
and
it.
I hated that it rotted last time. I was so sad.
Yeah, you only get it for like what, 2 days?
Yeah.
Not even.
Stupid.
Hello, how's it going? It's going good. Thank you. It's been a good stream.
I wouldn't. It's okay.
No.
Hi, Brooke.
Bedtime.
Stop
Yeah.
looking at that. That's rude.
Last day of fall.
Yep.
Yes.
Ugh, should we end at fall?
Yeah. We probably need to though.
I have to get up super early and drive out of town in the morning.
Oh,
What kind of fish is that?
I don't
I
know.
have to work in a
Oh,
different
it's a stonefish.
city. So. Stonefish. I haven't seen those.
They're in the caves.
I don't go fishing in the caves, as you can tell.
We know.
Hugs.
But now we have enough, and I'm going to buy my vault.
Get it. Get it.
Oh god, that scared me
Wait,
so
you do?
loud.
I thought you needed 40. Oh, no, because you already bought some of them. I forgot.
The steel watering can is ready.
Yay!
Queen of Sauce.
There's another oak resin, so I'll go ahead and throw that into the
Oh,
other
Queen of
bundle.
Sauce, thank you. I'll forget.
No, luck is not on our side.
Nope. Never friggin' is.
Okay.
I love the duck sound so much.
I love when they jump in the pond.
They're so
Oh,
cute.
what?
And they're in the
ducks jump in
water.
the pond.
Yeah.
That's so cute. You know what? I don't wonder why I couldn't find eggs. It's because they were
We got 2 periwinkles already.
Heyo.
And we got a crystallarium.
Yes. Put
What?
a diamond in that bitch.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know what that is.
We're happy to
But
help. It's not our
duplicate
house after all.
stones.
Oh.
Yeah, it duplicates your stones. So.
That is cool.
So diamonds are very valuable, so if you duplicate them, then
Like smart.
all the duplications.
And then you can be like super friends with Marnie.
Mm-hmm.
What friends? Who cut Rain's trees?
Not me.
What?
That's probably Muno.
What?
Look at my trees!
Nobody cut anybody's trees.
What?
The dead trees. Yeah, the wild trees. They're cut.
Oh, you mean
By
up
your
here?
house?
My
Near the
baby.
grave?
Over the river.
No.
Yeah.
No, your babies are at your house are
No.
fine.
No, not the one at the house. Over the river.
I didn't know she didn't want
have a
those
wild
cut.
tree over there.
I said they were wild trees. You told me not to cut them, so I didn't.
Yeah, by your house.
Yeah.
I thought you meant over the river, Lee.
No.
Of course I'm
Yeah.
not cutting the one at your house.
Oh.
I
I
get
definitely
letting
thought
them
you were talking
eat.
about the one by my house, and like, no,
No.
I was
don't
like,
touch
I
those.
wasn't supposed to cut those. I was like, what?
Okay, so these things are not gonna grow anymore, sadly.
All right, so I got 2 more mossy seeds. I just dug them up. I wanted a different spot for
An
them,
unknown.
so-
I want an unknown.
Into the unknown. Sorry.
Where do I want my wild trees?
Okay, the smoker is super fast. Let's just see what it gets us, though. If it makes it. Oh, did anyone check? Because I actually put a smoked fish in there already. I don't think anyone did.
Has anybody given anything to the raccoon yet?
No,
No, we don't have everything we need.
no, I just got 2 periwinkles. I kind of want to see.
We
if
got a
raccoon
turtle.
gets us. But we need this tuna.
Small tuna.
Yeah, we're gonna have to keep an eye on the traveling cart.
What day does it come again?
Fridays.
It's 2 days though. It should be 2 days.
I don't remember the other one. I just always know Fridays is
Wednesdays. Pretty sure it's Wednesdays.
Okay.
Traveling. Fridays and Sundays.
I thought it was Sunday, so that's today.
Oh!
Yeah. It seems like such a Sunday thing, like a market or a thing.
Yeah.
Time to go to the market.
I'll
Do
check.
we need to upgrade anything else? Because I'm going towards the smithy.
I can't think of anything.
No.
Okay. You don't want another watering can to be one-upped? To iron or something?
Well, we don't have a lot of money right now, so
Oh,
if
yeah.
you may want me to buy a rabbit. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I did sell a lot just now, so we will have money tomorrow.
The next day, yeah.
I'm gonna sell the
Traveler
gold
doesn't have what
parsnips
we need.
because we're not needing them anymore.
Selling what?
I sold the gold parsnips from the community chest because we don't need them anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. We keep some gold of everything, but yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
In the gold chest, but yeah, no, it's fine.
Oh right.
Like-
Well, they're still in there. They're still the
It's
last
good.
thing I dumped in
We,
there.
yeah, that's all good. We can plant more next season too. Let's see, rabbit. Oh, rabbit's 8,000. Sheep's 8,000. Pigs
One more.
16,000 for a pig.
Oh,
geez.
yeah, pigs are so expensive.
So we don't have enough to buy a rabbit today. Actually, maybe.
Oh shit!
Maybe
Oh
we do.
god!
What did you do?
I almost died.
Mm.
Everything's fine.
Rabbits, if I sell that milk to her, it's not enough. Dang it. I tried.
Wait, who moved the chest again? I'm so confused. Who keeps moving it? Is it a game?
I don't know
What
what chest
chest?
you're talking about. It's
The
moving.
red chest at the museum. I keep putting it next to the mailbox, and it keeps moving down every time.
Oh, maybe
I
somebody in the
think they're
game, an
walking through
NPC. An NPC might be moving it.
Yeah, it's 'cause
Oh
they
yeah,
can move it if they walk through
touch
it.
the mailbox. Yeah.
That's funny. I'm putting the geodes in here because it's not a lucky day, so. Or maybe I should just take them back again.
They should be okay there.
You can leave them over there. It's fine. You just might want to move the chest to a spot that's not going to get bumped every time.
Yeah, I moved it 1 point over, so I put it like not next to the mailbox, but a little bit.
I think that's the direction they're going, though. Towards
Oh,
the mailbox.
Could be. I'll see tomorrow. It's fine.
Hey, I got some mystery chests after hitting a artifact thing.
Nice. Oysters, clams, and cockles.
I almost lost those.
I do not want to eat sap. No, thank you.
Not a good
Trying
idea.
to kill me?
Yes. Why not?
Well, it's not very nice, is it?
No one said I was nice.
Aren't you called D-Nice? No, kidding. Last day of fall.
I get artichoke seeds. Oh, I should have grabbed all the stuff out of the museum while I was there. I know I have like a ton of stuff to pick up.
Oh,
What did you do?
Like 5 million
I
things
gotta
to
go back
pick
to
up.
town. I have a thing to put in the museum.
Yeah. 5 million things. that's
Anybody
correct.
see Sebastian?
Nope.
He's probably out by the mountain lake.
Thank you.
Usually where he's at.
I don't know what that says about us. So we know that off the top of our head.
Yeah, if he's not in his room, he's usually out smoking by the lake. Those are the two biggest places to find him. Either that or near Sam's.
Where's Sam's again?
And in the summer, he's on the ocean. And he's near the beach.
Oh. He's in his room. Hello there. Hello, puppet. The sun is coming out less these days. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Oh,
That's what he
geez.
said. I feel that. We had hail today. That's kind of weird.
How long
Did
does it
you
take to
see
get
the
oak
hail
resin?
fall in Mexico? They were as big as like snowballs.
Dang.
Yep. People's like windows from the cars like totally busted. Like the roof of the cars busted.
It's bad I don't remember all the locations I put the oak resin tappers at. I was gonna check them and I don't
spread
know.
out.
Huh?
You had them all spread out.
Yeah. Because I just had to put them where the trees existed. They're starting to grow though. Back. The oak trees. I've seen a couple more that I haven't put tappers on.
The wind is howling like a swirly storm inside. Wait, what is this? Why is it still only doing 3? What in the bullshit? I'm confused. Oh, I need to press it longer. Ah. It's like a double click.
Okay, so I need tappers because there's tons of those yellow trees down here. Copper and wood. I need copper.
Oh, this saves so much.
But I don't know if I can tap trees in the winter. I don't know if I'm even going to get anything
Yeah,
from
you
them in
can,
the winter.
Yeah.
It still works.
Okay.
That's one thing I do know. Damn, this watering can is the shit.
Yup. Hold it
Especially
down.
for the greenhouse. Because it's like 5 rows or 5 spots.
Seeds.
Greenhouse is done. I don't need to water the trees, right?
They grow on their own.
Good job, trees.
See.
Squee. Yeah, I'm not gonna do the crops because they die anyway. Poor things.
You poor crops.
Did I miscount? I did.
Silos are full.
Okay, good job. Good job.
Let's see. We decided copper needs to be processed because I need some copper bars.
Might accidentally sell it if I don't.
I feel that.
I would.
Dun, 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 dun.
Why can't I put it here? Stupid. Poor cows are all in the dark. Oh, it's nearly nighttime.
No. Oh, there's a pomegranate in there. We need that. Time to go to sleep. Raid.
What?
Scared me.
Oh.
Welcome, Raiders. Jackal, the panda. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome
There's
to
a
the
bot.
stream.
Ooh,
that a
something to
winter
look
thing?
forward to next time.
Yep, we get to go through there. I think we'll do one more day since we just got raided. If you guys want to do first day of winter,
I can go
because
fish.
they're just gonna. Billy, Bob Joder, welcome, guys. Welcome, everyone. It's been a long time. It really has. Welcome to the stream, though. It's good to see you.
Go fish up my
What were you guys playing today?
thingy.
Let's see. There you go. Final Fantasy. Nice, nice, nice. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Welcome, 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 everyone. If you're new here, I am a variety streamer. I play games like Stardew and Genshin and community night games like Golf with Friends, and I also do art. So I paint Pokemon.
Hello there.
Hello. Hey, Balloon Maid. Balloon Maid.
Yeah, that's a thing from when I had like an anniversary stream and I blew up balloons for every like sub and whatnot. And this came in the stream, so I wrote them their own balloons.
That's so
And since
cool.
then they called me the balloon girl or the balloon maiden.
I like it.
Yeah.
I gotta raid and lurk. Kiddos need supper. No problem, no problem. Thank you. And welcome, Billy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing good as well.
Right? No,
Nope,
is that
it's
Mono?
Mono.
It's me, because I was talking.
No,
Sorry.
of course. Yeah. It's so hard. We're like so color coded in a row. We have like slight differentiations
Let's
in our hair
see.
color.
I forgot to talk to the on Sunday and get the recipe. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that sub. Very much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Put some hype in chat for the sub, guys.
Ooh, it's gonna snow tomorrow.
And poke catcher for catching
So
Pokemon.
pretty.
What?
What?
Krobus?
What are you saying?
Oh, she hasn't gone to Krobus
Oh,
yet?
right.
Wait, what? what's happening?
I don't know. I can't.
You'll get it.
Oh, I just gotta walk that way. I was like, I'm so confused. No, hope you have a good rest of your stream. Oh, the little snow footprints.
Oh, I love him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, we can go to secret notes.
See the footprints? Look to your left.
Oh.
Go back, Mama. See them?
Yeah.
Because you make your own footprints too. So.
Alright, now I'm going to the desert.
You got me.
Driving myself since Pam's not here.
I look so valuable. I couldn't help myself.
You see the magnifying glass.
Wait, I thought it.
So she puts up
Secret
the
notes.
sign. If she doesn't put up the sign, then it doesn't work.
Some bullshit.
Yeah.
Sign.
Talking about Pam and the bus.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. Do we want to do a giant omelet for Gus, or do we want ectoplasm?
I don't know.
I don't know. Ectoplasm, is that using the slime? Because you'll need
It's
50
from
for to make the
ghosts.
oil machine later.
No,
Shane
it's
wants
just
a
something.
We
real
can't
dropped
even
from
make
ghosts.
anything right now.
You want me to just do the ghost one for now, so we can use our eggs for money?
Mm-hmm.
Because that one comes up a bunch.
We don't have
Yeah.
a kitchen anyway.
I found a holly.
Where's this bitch Pam? And why is she not here? Pam, get
Not
your
10
ass up
a.m.
here.
yet.
I got an 8
Well, it
point.
should be 9 a.m.
The spirits are neutral. Should I do the blind boxes or not?
I'd wait.
Yeah, better to wait.
I've got some too. I'm just like sitting on.
Yeah. Sometimes I just do my own because I just feel like
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna go
Yes.
fish my sandfish now.
Get it, get it. I'm looking for a snow yam. I've got a crocus.
Yeah, I got the crocus as well, but not the show yam.
Our lizard's looking cute as ever.
Where are you looking, Rose? Up or down?
I'm up in the mountains at the moment.
Yeah, I'll go down. I'll do the downstairs.
I love that Rain has like a tire outside her house and all the recyclables in
Have
her
you
house.
gone inside?
Yeah, I have. I went in there again. It's so crazy.
Just
Are there
trash
any-
everywhere.
Are there any special things with the notes, or is it just random?
Hey, we got a periwinkle.
They're helpful.
Oh, I got powder melon seeds from the ground.
Yep. Watermelon time.
That was one gross one, right?
Okay, guys, did you notice anything about, like where I'm walking? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
The-
notice anything.
the other secret is the
Look at the
grass
stream.
doesn't die.
Ah,
The grass always died in winter before and everybody panicked to make sure their silos were full. It doesn't die anymore.
It just doesn't grow back.
Yeah, so don't destroy it because it didn't grow back, but yeah, it doesn't
Alright.
die.
I just randomly found a poncho. Wait, I can go in the sewer?
Yes, you got a key.
I didn't know.
You can go fishing in there too.
Statue of Uncertainty. Change professions. What?
Mm-hmm.
Into what?
You can redo your stats, I think, or something.
Ah. Oh, he is the goods guy. Now I remember. You can buy a void egg. Oh, you can buy a startup flint too. I love the monster fireplace. That is so cool. Return scepter. Jeez, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Butterfly power.
Alright, I got my sandfish.
You can make them into
Yay.
a butterfly. To remove them. How mean. What else can I do? And the ladder, does it go into town? Is that it?
Oh, look at their little winter outfits.
I have no patience to be fishing in a sewer.
You know what? That's fair.
Hey, a book.
What? The force field scared me.
Gain a defense. I like that.
I thought I was dying.
There we go.
What?
Last fish bundle.
Woohoo! Well, what do
Well,
we
this book.
unlock?
Are you finished?
The glittering boulder is gonna disappear, which means
Oh,
that we get
panning
our
for
gold
gold or
sifter.
whatever.
Or what?
You can pan
Panning
for gold.
Gold?
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Oh, I
also
have
new
a
to me.
pomegranate. I just realized we
Yes,
need a
I got the
pomegranate.
stellium.
Nice.
Fuck
So
yeah.
now we can go to the quarry.
Fuck
Holy
yeah.
shit, we're locking everything so early. Is this early? For me, it feels early.
Well,
It is.
some people can do the whole thing year one, which is really cool.
Damn.
If it wasn't for the damn cabbage, I would have done it my last round, but oh well. Frickin' cabbages.
In your own game, you mean? Or
Yeah.
all by yourself? You even managed to do it in 1 year?
Mhm.
Holy
But
shit.
I didn't get the cabbage because I couldn't find it at the.
Yeah, it's always the cabbage.
The red one?
Mhm.
The red one?
Yeah.
I'm actually cutting pine trees. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It should be alright.
Yeah, they won't grow back, so I don't know if you want more pine tar things.
Oh, my seeds didn't register. Oh, that sucks.
What?
When I put the thing in it, like I clicked on the seeds, but the seeds didn't register, so I don't have my winter seeds from completing the bundle.
What?
Yeah.
That's the thing I had with the book thing, I think. Did it make a poof?
No, the books if you read, they automatically go away.
But I didn't read
But
it. Like I received
yeah.
it from the museum.
Oh,
like,
I should have went and
Oh.
bought a
the
bunny rabbit,
transfer, and
but
it
she's
just
not
went
there
poof.
today anyway.
Mhm.
I got a secret note.
Ooh.
What do I do then?
Read it.
Oh. I got a picture of Marnie when she was young with a kid.
Oh, with Jack? Yeah.
So what do I do with that?
Nothing. It's just a nice little secret that you have.
Okay.
They're secrets.
I do not want to eat holly. I think that's not good for you.
Okay, what was I doing now? I was looking to make.
I just planted the powder melon seeds that we had.
That is so mean. I got attacked because I'm in dialogue because I found a lost book.
Rude.
Yeah. That's for the museum, right?
Mhm. The lost book just automatically goes.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
So when we do play again, I need to buy a rabbit.
You can't do it today?
Babbit.
It's too late.
Nope.
Just one more day.
It's also Marnie. I don't think she's home on Mondays.
Yeah, she's not up there on Monday or Tuesday, so it's not gonna do me any good for doing one more day. No.
Yeah, I need to put a thing in there.
No, Stardew, no.
I have 3 powder melon seeds.
Sweet. You can plant them by the sprinkler where I started planting them.
Good. Wait, does the raccoon have like a friendship level now?
Yeah, I should look around for the
It doesn't.
powder melons.
Oh my god, Linus in his little hay outfit.
What? I didn't see it.
If you go under your social menu,
Yeah.
Linus, he's in a little hay outfit.
Ah! It looks like a lion. He's so cute.
Oh, they grow. Oh, we put them outside, right?
Yep.
Oh, there's. No, just 2 spots. Wait, it's a different one, huh? Why is one white? Oh, that spot isn't watered. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no. Is there a fertilizer in there? It's hard to see.
Yeah, I put down some quality fertilizer on it.
Probably.
Figured why not?
Yeah, of course. Wait, is that quality? Are you sure you put quality? Because I just put qualities fertilizer on some, and it looks different.
I don't know. And I put the orange one on it.
Oh, huh? I had a blue one.
Oh, you
Oh,
put
blue
the
speed grow or something.
Oh,
blue
fuck.
is the water
It said
retaining one.
quality. No, not the water
That's
one.
just-
The other one beside it. It said something about quality, but
Yeah, I don't know.
oh well.
I use the orange one.
I will just reorganize the chest. Yeah, that makes more sense. All the
Yeah, it makes sense
fertilizers
as to
next
why
to
it.
each other. Yeah, it was on the bottom right.
I got the Nautilus shell.
Ooh.
You need that.
Yo.
Oh yeah, I already got the snow gem.
We have 4 of them. That's crazy.
What the heck?
I might need
Right.
some help with the watering.
I don't have anything to help.
Shit.
Oh yeah, because the extra watering can is missing. Where's your watering
It's
can,
missing,
right?
though. I have the new one, so it's in the chest now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't know that. That was what mine was. Mine was the spare.
The spare
Mine was
is
the
in
spare in there too, so that means
So
we're
some
missing a
spare is
couple.
gone.
Yeah, I put my spare in that chest too, so I don't know.
Well, I think your spare ended up becoming the other one.
Because I had mine.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm out of energy. Nope, not that one. Fuck. 2 energy left. And dead. Did I eat the snow gem? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can.
No, why does it gotta
I
be
have
this
full
late?
energy, so it's okay.
Ah, dang it, I'm out.
Well, we need to
did
go
it.
to bed soon.
Yep.
We still gotta put the
Okay,
duck
okay.
feather in there? You know we have that, right?
I didn't see it.
I'm putting the watering can into my chest, so.
Okay.
I put the duck feather in the community
Do
box
that
a long time ago.
Fine.
Okay. Well, you guys want to go home, so.
But it's not in the thing. Nobody put it in the community center. I'm running, but I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna make it back to town, but I'm not gonna make it to bed.
Oh, jeez. Rip.
Yeah.
You might make it in house. Ah, shit.
No.
1 second. Forgetting. Oh!
The bridge!
Rude.
Now Lemon's gonna wanna go blow everything up. Go use
We
your
only get one, I
bombs!
think.
Mega bombs with those tickets.
Just like IRL never sleeps in time. This is true.
Yep.
Why won't it let me check? It lets you guys check, but not me. I'm not
Oh,
allowed.
they're in good humor today, the spirits.
Well,
so it's
that means that when we come back in,
Yep.
fix that.
Mm-hmm.
A wood chipper. Robin has a wood chipper?
Yeah, it's new.
That's kind of cool.
It's snowing.
Oh, right. Was
Yeah.
Tuesday our last day, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just looking around.
Sometimes. Wait, let me just see if I'm extra lucky. Wait, where's my hovel? Yeah.
Since I play 3 saves, I have to like make notes about what I'm doing.
I'm making a little heart. I'm trying to. No. I can't. The crab pots they don't work in winter?
Did you put
They
bait
do.
in them?
They don't have any bait in them.
Yeah, you have to put bait in.
I did. Did anyone else?
I harvested it and I didn't have any bait.
That'll do it.
I was like, oh, they're not ready yet, so I didn't.
No, I didn't have any bait to put in there. It was
Bait is
sad.
a blue chest here.
Oh, okay.
Put it in here.
Oh, you put it in that one? Okay.
Yeah, because it was closest to the crab pots.
Oh, you don't have to put that kind of bait. Do you have to put bait, processed bait in there, or can you just put bug meat in there?
Oh,
You have to put bait.
No, your fish are so pretty. I really should fish more.
Oh, this is just a general fish chest.
Alright, well, time to exit.
Bye.
Don't cry. Oh, let's do this. Say goodbye to all, and let's end the game. But thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for rating. Thank you for playing Pokemon with me. Oh no!
I'm sad.
As she leaves the game. Oh, exit the title. There you go. But yeah, you guys are awesome. So yeah, I think we'll try to do this save like every other Sunday. That way it's not every week. And then the other save will probably be every other Friday. So that we can go back and forth, and everyone in this group is welcome to do the other one too. The other one, we do have unlimited money and the best tools right off the bat. And so that's a thing in the other save. But so it's slightly modded, slightly. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for being here. And we're gonna end with this, and I hope you guys all have a relaxing evening and Monday treats you well. So say good night everybody in Discord to chat.
Good night.